Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third and final leg of the webinar program from the Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium entitled The Road to Super Seniors, The Science of Aging. It's earlier than you think, but it's never too late. I'm Case Romero, Associate Director of Health Services Outcomes Research of St. Luke's Medical Center and the Chairman of the Research Mobilization Committee of MMHRDC, and I will be hosting today's event. So to start with this event, may we invite everyone to have a moment of silence for the invocation to be followed by the Philippine National Anthem.
From a distance, the world looks blue and green, and the snow-capped mountains white. From a distance, the ocean meets the stream, and the eagle takes to flight.
From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the voice of hope, it's the voice of peace, it's the voice of every man.
From a distance, we all have enough, and no one is in need. And there are no guns, no bombs, and no disease, no hungry mouths to feed.
From a distance, we are instruments, marching in a common band, playing songs of hope, playing songs of peace. They're the songs of every man. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance.
From a distance, you look like my friend, even though we are at war. From a distance, I just cannot comprehend what all this fighting's for.
From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the hope that calls, it's the love that calls. It's the hope that calls, it's the love that calls. This is the song of every man.
God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance. Oh, God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance.
mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, helas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuyak ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ang pagaw, ay hinagang tulang awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iibig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidinig. Luma ng araw ng walhaging pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Okay, and we're back. So this webinar is brought to you by the following agencies: the Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium. This is primarily hosted by the Far Eastern University and the Our Lady of Fatima University. The lead agencies for the Metro Manila Health are the Department of Health, Department of Science and Technology, the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, Commission on Higher Education, and the University of the Philippines, Manila. So some of the ground rules of this webinar. The objective of this webinar are to showcase research works on aging science, to provide a venue for international exchange of ideas and research findings, as how as a society we can become a society of super seniors, also to provide an opportunity for allied health professionals, researchers, students, seniors, and their carers to learn more from world-class researchers and practitioners on how to prepare themselves and their loved ones to become super seniors, and also to capacitate allied health institutions, practitioners, students, seniors, and their carers on the rights and benefits that are legally mandated and required for all Filipino senior citizens. To have a smoother flow, the post-test and evaluation mechanics are as follows. So the link of the post-test and evaluation will be flashed at the end of the webinar. Only those who were able to attend the webinar via Zoom will be issued a certificate of active participation, provided that they get a passing rate of 60% in the post-test. Participants are advised to refrain from sharing the post-test and evaluation forms. Post-test will be given available for 2 days. After which it can no longer be accessed. Participants who wish to get certificates are advised to accomplish the post-test as soon as possible. Certificates will be sent via email, and make sure that you enter the correct email addresses. For our question and answer mechanics, so questions from the Zoom Q&A box, and I think we are via YouTube right now, will be acknowledged. Participants who are planning to send their questions are requested to state their name and affiliation when dropping questions via the Zoom chat box or the comments from the YouTube, or if ever you have questions from the Facebook, although we are live streaming from YouTube right now. 10 minutes will be allotted for each speaker to answer questions from the audience. The number of questions that will be accommodated will depend on the time. So to start this morning's webinar, may we call on Dr. Eva Marie Cutionco de la Paz, the chair for the Metro Manila Health Steering Committee and Executive Director of the National Institute of Health of the University of Manila, for her opening remarks. This will be followed by key messages from our lead agencies of the Metro Manila Health Research Development Consortium, namely Dr. Carmencita Padilla, the lead convener of the MMHRDC and Chancellor of the UP Manila, Dr. RD Jose Patalidhog III, the Director of NCR Office of the Department of Science and Technology, a message from Dr. Corazon I. Flores, the OIC Director 5 of the Metro Manila Center for Health Development of the Department of Health, Dr. Virginia Aquiate, the Director of the NCR Commission on Higher Education, and last but not the least, by Dr. Jaime C. Montoya, the Executive Director for the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development.
DOST Philippine Council for Health Research and Development Executive Director Dr. Jaime Montoya, Commission on Higher Education Commissioner Dr. Lilian de las Llagas, our distinguished keynote speaker, UP Manila Chancellor and MMHRDC Lead Convener Dr. Carmencita Padilla, DOST NCR Director and Lead Convener Engineer Jose Patalinhog III, DOH MMHRDC Director Dr. Corazon Flores, esteemed speakers, colleagues from various government agencies, representatives from the current member institutions of MMHRDC, and the Regional Health Research and Development Consortia, friends, and to all health enthusiasts. A pleasant morning to all and welcome to the Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium webinar series entitled The Road to Super Seniors, The Science of Aging. It's earlier than you think, but it's never too late. This webinar series comes at a time when the world is still grappling with the adverse and devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on politics, culture, economics, and most especially on our day-to-day interaction with our colleagues, friends, and family. This pandemic has dramatically altered the dynamics of our normal lifestyle in ways we've never imagined before. As the rest of the world is racing to find a cure and solutions to the COVID 19 pandemic, our country's health system is likewise trying and steadily adapting to the new normal, thanks primarily to the country's selfless health professionals who continue to persevere in alleviating the suffering of the Filipino people across all sectors of society. But we need to strategize and find innovative ways that would build the capacity of our people in adapting and living through this new normal. In doing so, we should not forget one of our most vulnerable sectors, the elderly Filipinos. Just like us, they are also experiencing the numbing anxiety and uncertainty caused by this pandemic and even boredom. Guidelines and policies have to be crafted that can help them cope with the pandemic and empower them to be valued members of society, remaining productive for their families and communities, and doing what they want to do are the hallmarks of healthy aging. Maintaining one's health while undergoing the aging process requires not only to focus on individuals, but also to create an environment which allows them to do what they want to do. The webinar is really timely and relevant. This webinar will allow us to navigate new and fresh perspectives on how we should approach and view the aging process. The series will run through 3 Saturdays for the month of September, starting today, September 12. It will provide us an avenue to learn from internationally and nationally recognized experts on how we should prepare ourselves and our loved ones on the path of becoming super seniors and how we could empower the Filipino elderly when it comes to their rights and privileges. This webinar series also provides a suitable platform where we could exchange and share ideas to facilitate the realization of our ultimate goal, a Filipino society of empowered seniors. Before I end, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the Far Eastern University, led by Dr. Michael Alba, and Our Lady of Fatima University, led by Dr. Carolyn Marian Enriquez, who co-organized this webinar together with all the officials and staff of MMHRDC, headed by Dr. Hilton Lam, the Director of the Institute of Health Policy and Development Studies, National Institutes of Health, UP Manila. Thank you for making this important event a reality. I would also like to extend my sincerest appreciation to PCHRD and CHED, our most valued partners in health research and development. To all the participants, please fasten your seatbelt and enjoy the ride as we navigate the exciting landscape of the aging process and the road to a society of super seniors. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Good day to all participants, speakers, organizers, and guests. In behalf of the member institutions and as Metro Manila Health Research Development Consortium lead convener, I welcome you to the virtual edition of the MMHRDC International Symposium and 11th Annual Scientific Conference being hosted by the Far Eastern University. I commend the MMHRDC for pushing through with this symposium earlier slated for May 28 to 29 this year but sidelined by the pandemic. The postponement enabled more participants from here and abroad, giving way to increased interaction for exchange of knowledge and experiences. Amidst this pandemic, the consortium is committed to continue its role in disseminating relevant researches to the science community through this webinar series. The theme, The Road to Super Seniors, The Science of Aging, It's Earlier Than You Think, but It's Never Too Late, is relevant and urgent as it is timely and auspicious. 10 speakers on a wide range of topics and about 500 participants from different countries, institutions, and disciplines is quite a harvest of ideas and inputs that will benefit plans and programs for the aging sector. As the population of the Philippines and the rest of the world continues to age, there is a need to align our health and social systems to this demographic shift. The World Health Organization projects that by 2020, the number of people aged 60 years and older will outnumber children younger than 5 years old. By 2050, 80% of older people will be living in low and middle income countries, while the proportion of the world's people aged 60 years and older will almost double from 12% in 2015 to 22%. The Philippines is about to experience this increase in its aging population. We know that aging is an inevitable and challenging process, so we have to recognize its demands and prepare adequately. Let us reverse the notion that older persons are a burden. Rather, healthy older persons can still fulfill important roles in society. The World Health Organization Global Strategy and Action Plan on Aging and Health acknowledges that many older people will experience very significant losses, whether of physical or cognitive capacity, or of family, friends, and the roles they played earlier in life. Societal responses to aging should not deny these difficulties, but seek to foster recovery, adaptation, and dignity. This will require transformative approaches that recognize the rights of older people and enable them to thrive in the complex, changing, and unpredictable environment they are likely to live in now and in the future. These approaches must foster the ability of older people to make multiple contributions in an environment that respects their dignity and human rights, free from gender and age-based discrimination. Maintaining optimal health while aging is not easy. With an already burdened health system, addressing the needs and conditions of this sector is extremely challenging. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought out further vulnerabilities of the aged and aging persons. Research is an effective way by which the academe can commit to the global strategy and action plan on aging that focuses on developing age-friendly environments and providing measurements and monitoring. UP Manila, as the country's health sciences center, has research such as this at its core. We therefore welcome this webinar series as an encouraging stride to highlight the researches and collaboration done on this theme. The knowledge and information generated will assist policymakers and government leaders in planning for additional services as a result of expected growth in the number of older persons. We cannot have it any other way. The time is now to focus on the health needs and challenges of the aging sector. The time is now to plan for health programs and services in our goal of envisioning a future where aging persons can still be healthy and productive contributors to society. I pray that you will have the most fruitful discussion and sharing in all of the sessions. A pleasant good morning to all.
We extend our warmest congratulations to the Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium for this webinar series on the road to super seniors, the science of aging. We commend the members of the MMHRDC for studies that tackle productive aging. This webinar series serves as a tribute to the prime years of the aging population, telling us that it is early that you think, but it's never too late. The series will discuss science-based approaches on the different aspects of growing older in age. There is a continuing need to focus the lenses of research and development to vulnerable groups such as the aging population. We urge our researchers to consider the patterns of change and transition that the elderly goes through as they age. Likewise, we urge our policymakers to integrate R&D outputs and crafting frameworks and plans in improving the elderly's common cognitive and physical health. Most importantly, provide quality healthcare while reducing healthcare costs. May we also share that DOST-NCR has senior citizen groups provided with assistance for livelihood productivity. Aside from doing R&D, we can also transfer science-based knowledge products by collaborating with local government units and non-government organizations. We are one with you in focusing SNP efforts to benefit the elderly. Again, our warmest congratulations.
Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Sa ating pong organizer ng webinar series na to, sa ating pong mga participants, sana po'y nasa mabuti kayong kalagayan at wala namang iniindang anumang karamdaman. Ngayon po, araw na to, nagkakaroon tayong tinatawag na webinar series, The Road to Super Seniors, The Science of Aging. It is earlier than you think, but it is never too late. Super Seniors. Ano po bang ibig sabihin natin ito? Ito po yung tinatawag nating lahat tayong nagnanais naman na mas humaba pa ang buhay. The super seniors are those beyond 80 years old. At tayo, alam ko naman po, nalulungkot tayo pagka na may nabalitaan tayo na may mga wala pang 30, wala pang 40 na matay na po, inatake. And ngayon pong araw na to, tayong lahat ay may matututunan. Marami po tayong matutunan sa tinatawag nating webinar series na to. And we at the Department of Health, Metro Manila Center for Health Development are one with the Metro Manila Health Research Development Consortium with their vision of addressing issues such as this towards the achievement of health goals that are of local, national, and international significance. This time, we are addressing a battle against time, against faded youth, and things there in between. We're battling that time kung saan po mas gusto po nating mas humaba pa ang buhay ng bawat isa. At present, of course, alam naman nating lahat, we're battling against COVID-19. We are battling against epidemic, napakadalas po yan. Last year, meron tayong mga tinawag na measles, leptospirosis, polio. But of course, the battle against aging. Kumbaga, pagka nakarits na, lalo na sa mga babae, pagka nakarits na ng 40s, nagkakaroon na ng mga depression o nalulungkot na siya dahil lalo na pagka may mga kulubot na. Alam niyo naman po, sa ating mga kabaihan na balidoso, gusto po natin ma-preserve ang ating kagandahan. I'm glad, of course we're glad, that it's never too late for us to tackle this topic. And I alam ko po, you as our participants, your presence in this webinar is an indicator of your interest to do much for this aging problem that we are facing now. And of course, alam po natin lahat, tayong lahat tatanda rin. And what we are learning here will be of great help, not only for us, but for our families and loved ones. Kaya po, tayo po lahat ay makinig ng mabuti dito po sa webinar series na to. With a variety of topics offered in this webinar, with so much anticipation, I am thrilled that the insights from our resource speakers will further concretize our very foundation and be instrumental in expanding our rates of influence. Allow me to express my early congratulations to the Metro Manila Research and Development Team. Of course, maraming salamat din po sa ating pong mga partners, co-organizing institution, Far Eastern University, and of course, Our Lady of Fatima University for such a brilliant idea of putting this into action. This is a worthwhile experience for all of us to continuously learn something new on how we can further grow to improve or what we can do further to have a longer life for everyone. And of course, it's my wish that the road to super seniors be galvanized into action in Metro Manila, if not for the whole archipelago. A simple tip that we have to put into our mind to live a longer and of course satisfied life. Take time, of course, to pray, to meditate, to give thanks to what we have received, to exercise, to have a good diet. And lastly, my prayer for everyone is taken from Psalms 91 verse 16. I pray that all of us will experience a long and satisfied life. Magandang araw po sa ating lahat.
To the organizers of the Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium, its officers, its members, the participating higher education institutions, especially the Far Eastern University and the Our Lady of Fatima University, who are sponsoring this series of webinars. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to one and all. Your theme for today, the road to super seniors, the science of aging, is a very appropriate one. It's earlier than you think, but it's never too late. It is very timely in these times when the senior populace is suddenly increasing. It is also for this reason that we, from the Commission on Higher Education, National Capital Region, endorsed on September 1, 2020, this series of webinars, especially to our higher education institutions who have graduate schools, because most of the professors there are seniors. Talking about seniors and seniority, I still remember the time when I was on an air-conditioned bus bound to Baguio. Because I was a chance passenger, I did not get my ticket yet. I happened to be seated to a senior lady who also just entered, and she too is a chance passenger. After a few minutes, the conductor of the bus came near and asked the senior lady, "Are you a senior?" To my surprise, this lady suddenly got angry and strongly retorted, "Bakit? Mukhang matanda ba ako?" And looking at the very bewildered poor conductor, I proudly approached him and I said, "I am a senior." The conductor then showed me to a very nice seat in front and even gave me a 20% discount. The senior lady retorted again, and she said, "Hindi naman hamak na mas matanda ako sa kanya. Bakit mo pa siya dinala doon sa mas magandang upuan? Habang ako naman andito." I look at her humbly and I said, "Here is my ID. I am a senior." Whether, my dear friends, whether we are mistaken as not yet senior or already seniors, let's be proud that we have reached this stage, and let us be happy because this time we are already enjoying the perks of seniority with the 20% discount, with the different allowances, and with, the added taxes are already being removed from us. So it is for this reason, my dear friends, especially to the seniors, that I am happy to share to you the tips of being a productive and happy senior. I took it from the acronym Senior Aging, SENIOR, and aging, AGEING. So to start with, letter S, be spiritual. S, be spiritual. Always acknowledge that there is this Almighty Father guiding us day and night. Smile and say good things to people. Letter E, embrace the good vibes. Throw away bitterness in your life. There is no time to grudge, to pout, to be negative in these pandemic times. Let's embrace the good vibes and make things look positive. Letter M, network with other people. Do not ignore people. Network with them and be happy. Letter I, inspire others instead of insulting them. Inspire others instead of insulting them. And letter R, remember the good times. Do not forget your past happy moments. According to some psychologists, they say that the farther you can remember your happy moments in your childhood, maybe when you are 2, you are 3 or 4 years old, the most likely that you will not be experiencing Alzheimer's or the loss of memory. So, senior. Now we come to aging. Aging. A, add spices to your life. Do Zumba, go out with friends, and be comfortable with those that you really want to go out with. Letter G, give to charity. Be compassionate to the needy. Be compassionate to the poor. Letter E, as I have said earlier, enjoy every minute as if it is your last. Enjoy every minute as if it is your last to stay on earth. Letter I again. Involve others to good work. Involve others to do good work. Letter N. Nurture your skills and talents and share it to others. Try doing artwork. Try embroidery. Try other things. Try to compose poetry or poems and sing a lot. Letter G, go out and serve. As seniors, we have to be doing extension work. We have to join civic organizations. We have to do volunteer work as much as we can. My dear friends, especially my dear seniors, by then and only then can we say that we are on the road for super positive-minded seniors, ever loving, ever caring, ever inspiring to other seniors, and ever prayerful. Keep safe, my dear friends. Mabuhay tayong lahat. Mabuhay ang Metro Manila Health and Research and mabuhay ang Manila, Metro Manila Health and Research and Development Consortium. Mabuhay tayong lahat. Thank you po.
I would like to congratulate the Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium for the successful launch of this webinar series. As COVID-19 continues to pose a great deal of challenges towards the way we do health research, this event is proof of our commitment to bring solutions closer to our communities. The theme, The Road to Super Seniors, the Science of Aging. It's earlier than you think, but it's never too late, highlights the value of creating equitable and inclusive access to healthcare and improving the quality of life in our country for all ages. According to the Commission on Population in 2019, approximately 8.2% of Filipinos are senior citizens. As our population grows older, it is even more relevant that we work for the development of evidence-based policies and programs that will ensure better lives for our elderly. As an avenue for shared learning, we hope that this event will also boost opportunities for collaborations and network building. We hope that even more researchers will join us in our mission of providing equitable access to healthcare for our senior citizens and our communities. Allow me again to thank the Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium for organizing this event despite the challenges and for being our partner in pursuing health and health-related activities that are attuned to the needs of our communities. Cheers to a vibrant research community for better healthcare and for better lives. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay po tayong lahat.
So we have heard the messages and opening remarks from our distinguished leaders supporting the Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium. As a brief background of this webinar series, it is supposed to be the MMHR Disease International Consortium, and 11th Annual Scientific Conference. As Dr. Padilla said, it was supposedly slated last May 28 to 29. We have been preparing for this since last year, but due to the pandemic, the consortium decided and is committed to continue its role in disseminating um, relevant researches to the scientific community as well as to the lay people. That's why we have created the webinar series on the road to super seniors, the science of aging. It's supposedly running on Saturdays of September. These are the organizing committee of the webinar series, led by the webinar creatives. Webinar and creatives led by Dr. Michael Joseph Dino, assisted by Mr. Chris Patricio and Joseph Carlo Vital from the Our Lady of Fatima University. They have been working very hard over the past weeks for the streaming of these videos, the creatives, and everything that you see in the content on your screen. The program committee, which is composed by Dr. Maria Belinda Buenafe from FEU, Professor Joycelyn Filteo of FEU also, and Dr. Maria Luisa Enriquez from De La Salle University. For this week's committee, yours truly, I'm Case Romero from St. Luke's Medical Center, assisted by Dr. Vino Solar from the Manila Central University. Today's moderator are Dr. Michael Baclig from the Research and Biotechnology Group of the St. Luke's Medical Center, and Dr. Jocelyn Hipona from the Institute of Nursing of Far Eastern University. For the evaluation committee, we are assisted by Ms. Cherry Maramag from the Nutrition Center of the Philippines. Okay, so it's an exciting Saturday for all of us. This is supposedly last September 26th, but due to foreseeable network connections over the weekend, we decided to postpone the seminar, and luckily, our esteemed speakers are available this week also. So for our first speaker is tagged as election lawyer par excellence. He graduated with a degree of BS Commerce, major in advertising from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, then pursued law in the University of the East Manila, passing the 1979 Philippine bar exams with a rating of 83.1%. In the past, he has worked as Veterans Benefits Counselor for the U.S. Veterans Administration and an assistant professor in his alma mater, PUP. Since he passed the bar exams up to present, he is a practicing lawyer with a specialization on election and political cases. At present, he is also busy with his personal advocacy for the rights and benefits of senior citizens. He is instrumental in making millions of the senior citizens fully aware of their rights and benefits under the Senior Citizens Law. Last May, despite the pandemic, one of the good news that we have received is the entitlement of the 20% discount and VAT exception on the purchase of vitamins and mineral supplements for the elderly, which is beneficial to have strong immune system this pandemic. All this and more will be discussed by our esteemed speaker this morning. Please help me welcome Attorney Romulo B. Macalintal.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, especially to my fellow senior citizens. Despite the pandemic, I'm happy that we are connected through this modern technology of webinar. During our youthful days, we never had this kind of technology, and it never entered our mind, nor even in our wildest dream, that one day we would be connected through this kind of technology webinar. We are. Can you hear me?
Yes, attorney.
Okay. Yeah, despite this pandemic, I'm glad that we are connected. And of course, I'm very happy that many senior citizens are participating in this particular seminar. And of course, I congratulate all my fellow senior citizens, all certified senior citizens for being here. It's really a privilege to reach the age of seniority. Others are denied of this privilege. So senior citizens should be very, very happy to reach this age. This is what they call the wonder age. This is the wonder year for the senior citizens. And you know why it is a wonder year? It is a wonder year because this is the year that most of us are saying, I wonder where I left my eyeglasses. I wonder where I left my keys. I wonder if I'm in the webinar. So these are the wonder years of our life. And we are very fortunate today because we could be connected. This pandemic is really very dangerous that even the most powerful leader of a powerful country is not spared of this pandemic. We heard that our fellow senior citizen, President Trump of the US, together with his wife, was tested positive of coronavirus. And it only shows that we have to take good care of ourselves. Kaya kayong mga senior citizens, kung wala rin na kayong gagawin, wag na ho kayong lalabas ng ating mga tahanan. So today, we have prepared some discussions on the benefits and privileges of our senior citizens as well as our persons with disability. May I have our video, please? There you have it. My discussion will center on the rights and benefits of senior citizens and the persons with disability. Karapatan ng mga senior citizens at persons with disability dapat nating ipinaglalaban. Of course, in the Philippines, we are very, very lucky because senior citizens enjoy a lot of benefits. And since this is an international conference, perhaps there might be some foreigners who might be interested to learn that it is only in the Philippines where senior citizens are practically spoiled by the government. Because here, it is only here in the Philippines where a senior citizen enjoys 20% discount on purchases of goods, services, and other benefits extended to them, and with VAT exemption. In other words, they are not charged for any taxes on the purchase of these goods and services. And so a lot of Filipino people, especially those from living abroad, they really want to come to the Philippines. Napakadami mga senior citizens sa ibang bansa ang gustong pumunta kagad sa Pilipinas, and they enjoy a lot sa ating mga benefits. And what are the rules? What are the rules? What are the laws governing the benefits of our senior citizens and PWDs? As far as the senior citizens are concerned, we have Republic Act 9994. This is the expanded Senior Citizens Act of 2010. Previously, only those with age 60 were given the rights to the benefits of senior citizens. But today, all 60 years old and above are given the privilege of the benefits under Republic Act 9994. Insofar as the disabled persons are concerned, their benefits are governed by the Magna Carta for Disabled Persons, or Republic Act 9442. The benefits received by our senior citizens and PWDs are practically the same. It is practically the same because both the senior citizens and the disabled persons are given VAT exemption. In other words, if they purchased medicines or other services, the taxes are not included in the computation of the selling price. The 20% discount are provided under the law. And of course, both the senior citizens and the persons with disabilities are also given the PhilHealth benefits. Automatically, they become members of the PhilHealth benefits despite of the fact that they do not contribute any amount. In other words, once you reach 60 years old, nabibigyan ka na ng mga benefits as a PhilHealth member, as if you are a paying PhilHealth member. I was not able to include in this PowerPoint presentation my recent my recent request before the Department of Transportation and the Toll Regulatory Board about the 20% discount that should be extended to senior citizens and PWDs in passing through our tollways or expressways. You know, effective November 2, 2020, simula sa November 2, lahat ng mga toll gates, lahat ng mga expressways ay kailangan na yung RFID. What is the RFID? That's the Radio Frequency Identification. Kaya kung wala kayo niyan, ay baka hindi kayo makapasok sa mga toll gates, toll pays. And effective November 2, the Department of Transportation and the Toll Regulatory Board will implement a cashless transactions in passing through these expressways. So the other day, last September 28, I wrote a letter to the Department of Transportation Chairman, Secretary Tugade, who is also the Chairman of the Toll Regulatory Board, to implement the law, giving the disabled persons and senior citizens 20% discount on the purchase of RFID. Sa madaling salita, tayo po mga senior citizens and persons with disability, kailangan mabigyan tayo ng diskwento sa pagbili natin ng mga RFID o toll fees. I'm sure almost 90% of our senior citizens and PWDs are passing through these expressways, and you know what I'm talking about on RFID. So how do we implement this RFID? This is a very, very new provision in the law. There is a law under Republic Act 9442, especially on its implementing rules and regulations, and also under Republic Act 9994. 20% discount. I am proposing before the DOTR and Toll Regulatory Board that the discount should be given automatically to the senior or to the PWD. For instance, if you purchase 1,000 pesos RFID load, kung ikaw ay maglo-load ng 1,000 pesos, the senior citizen could be given the 200 peso discount, that is 20%. And of course, you will only be paying 800 pesos, but the load will be 1,000 pesos. Or the 200 pesos discount could be added to your purchase of 1,000 RFID load, in which case, if you pay 1,000 pesos for the RFID load, then your credit will be 1,200. Maaaring isama na lamang yung diskwento para talagang cashless transaction ang gagawin ng PWD and the senior citizens. And what is now the status of this request? As of now, wala pa po. Sorry. But it is already with the DOTR and the Toll Regulatory Board. And we are requesting, the senior citizens organization are requesting the President to immediately act on our request. Kasi ngayon, October 1 to 7, by the way, is the so-called Elderly Week. Today, we celebrate the Elderly Week. October 1 to 7 is Elderly Week. The Centenarian Law, Republic Act 10868, provides that every October 1 to 7 of every year shall be dubbed and celebrated as Elderly Week, where, of course, senior citizens reaching 100 years old will be given the centenarian gift of 100,000 pesos, which I will discuss later on. Next slide. Now we have, by the way, also this Department of Health Administrative Circular number 2012-007-A, which was issued on May 6, 2020. And what is this administrative order all about? You know, matagal nang hinihingi ng mga senior citizens na mabigyan tayo ng diskwento sa mga vitamins and mineral supplements. But every time you purchase vitamins and mineral supplements, the discount is not given by the establishment. And research that we have done shows that under Republic Act 9994, it shows that these vitamins and mineral supplements are included in the law because the definition of the word medicine to which a senior citizen is entitled to 20% discount includes vitamins and mineral supplements. It's very, very clear in the law. Napakaliwanag po sa ating batas na sinasabing Ang ibig sabihin ng medicine ay kasama ang vitamins and mineral supplements. And for 10 years, since 2010 up to this year, this has been denied the senior citizen. So last May 2020, because of this pandemic, I wrote a letter to the Department of Health, and I'm sure the Department of Health knows this. And directly, we emailed Secretary Duque about this matter, and we pointed out that our senior citizens had been deprived for 10 years of these vitamins and mineral supplements discount. And of course, last May 6th, we got a very affirmative answer from the Department of Health, and we thank Secretary Duque for the prompt reply. And it was clearly stated that insofar as vitamins and mineral supplements are concerned, the senior citizens are entitled to this discount of 20%. Now, what are the requirements? The requirements are the following. First, of course, we need a doctor's prescription. Oh, by the way, itong discount na ito ay para lamang sa senior citizen kasi wala pong ganyang benefits para sa mga PWDs because the word medicine, insofar as the law pertaining to PWDs are concerned, did not include vitamins and mineral supplements, unlike in the case of the senior citizens law, wherein the word medicine includes vitamins and mineral supplements. Kaya tayo po mga senior citizens ay binibigyan ng 20% discount sa pagbili ng mga vitamins and mineral supplement. As I said, what are the requirements? Of course, there's a need for a doctor's prescription. Bakit kailangan po ang doctor's prescription? Ay siyempre, baka po mamaya contraindication pala yun, yung vitamins natin sa ating karamdaman. We might be taking some medicine and the vitamins may not be necessary. No? Kaya kailangan po ang doctor's prescription. Yung senior citizens booklet, and of course, any government-issued ID. Any government-issued ID. Hindi po kailangan ang senior citizen ID. Any government ID will suffice. Now, if the vitamins or mineral supplement or any matter is purchased by a representative of a senior citizen, then a written authority must be coming from or must be issued by the senior citizen. Ibig sabihin, kung ang senior citizen ay hindi makakabili ng kanyang vitamins o mineral supplement, maaari siyang kumuha o kaya tawagin ng kanyang apo o sino man sa kanyang kinatawan para bigyan niya lamang ng written authority. A written authority authorizing the representative to purchase the said vitamins and mineral supplements. You know, it has been for 10 years already that this benefit has not been given to the senior citizen. But if the Department of Health is listening, by the way, with due respect, you know, there is still a lot of drugstores, a lot of establishments that do not give this particular benefit. Why? Because according to them, the DOH or the Food and Drugs Authority have not issued any directive to the drugstores or to the establishments. Nasabi nila, wala pa naman kaming directive sa DOH para ma-implement ang nasabing diskwento. So we would like to request the officials of the DOH, please look into this matter. Although insofar as I'm concerned, there is no need for any directive because the law is very, very clear. The law is there. The law was published. The implementing rules and regulations were published. So there is no need for any directive from the DOH. The establishments cannot claim that they do not know the law because under the law, ignorance of the law excuses no one. Kahit hindi mo alam ang batas, basta't ang batas ay na-publish, that already requires everybody to comply with the said rules. Kaya kayong mga establishments, mga drugstores, where senior citizens are buying vitamins and minerals, please do not use the excuse that the DOH or FDA has not yet issued the said rules and regulations. But then, of course, we would like to request again from the DOH to please issue the directive para yung mga establishments na ito ay maliwanagan kung ano talaga ang sinasabi ng ating batas. Another controversial issue, ladies and gentlemen, another controversial issue involving the rights and benefits of senior citizen is when an item is on promo. I am sure marami sa ating mga kababayan, I'm sure a lot of senior citizens and PWDs have been confronted with this problem. Pagka kayo'y bumili sa isang establishment, if you buy a particular item, for instance, you go to a restaurant, and the restaurant will say, oh, kami po, naka-promo kami, hindi na po entitled ang senior citizen. Now, what is really the rule? Insofar as when an item is on promo. Kapag ka ba naka-promo, tayong mga senior citizen ay hindi na entitled sa discount? Well, it depends. Ano? There are two things to be considered. Number one, if the promo is approved by the Department of Trade and Industry, the senior citizen or the PWD may choose between the regular 20% discount or the promo price, whichever is favorable to them. Halimbawa, ang halaga ng bibilihin mo ay 100 pesos. Of course, the 20% of that is 20 pesos. And the promo price is, say, 90 pesos. So the discount on the promo price is 10 pesos, pero in regular discount ay 20 pesos. So you can choose between the two. Of course, you take one which is favorable, in which case you take the regular discount. Now, second slide. If the promo, mga kaibigan, remember, if the promo is not approved by the Department of Trade and Industry or it is a mere house promo, halimbawa, basta lamang nag-promo, sinabi nila, oh, naka-promo kami, ganito. What is the rule? Well, if the promo is not approved by the Department of Trade and Industry, the senior citizen and the PWD is still entitled to 20% discount and the VAT exemption. So lahat po yan ay kailangan mabigay sa inyo. Kaya kahit na sinasabing naka-promo sila, you are still entitled to 20% discount and VAT exemption if the promo is not approved by the DTI. Bakit ganito? Why? What is the reason for the law? Why give a discount if it is a house promo? Well, you know, if there is no regulation from the DTI, then every establishment will just say, we are on promo. Lahat na lamang magsasabi, ay, naka-promo kami. Kaya wala nang discount ang mga senior citizen. And that will, of course, defeat the very purpose why these rules on promo is issued by the Department of Trade and Industry. Kaya po tayong mga senior citizen, marami po tayong entitlement dyan. You know, a lot of we already filed a lot of cases against the establishments, and we got a very good response from the Department of Trade and Industry, and even from the court, because they said that really, if there is no approval by the DTI of the so-called promo by any establishment, that promo price should be considered as a regular price insofar as the senior citizen or the persons with disability is concerned. Kaya tayo po ay still entitled to 20% discount. Yan po ay dapat tandaan lahat ng ating mga senior citizens, especially organizations of senior citizens. Ito po ang laging nagiging problema ng ating mga senior citizens pag sila po ay nakakapunta sa isang establishment, sinasabing sila ay on promo. Kasi kung lahat na lang po ay on promo, mawawalan po tayo ng benefits. Mawawala na po yung ating pagkakataon na maklaim natin ang ating mga diskwento. Now, another issue which has been raised, mga kaibigan, we were informed that there are some local government units, may mga cities or municipalities, where they require voters registration. Sinasabi nila na kailangan daw ang isang senior citizen o PWD ay magpa-register muna as a voter. Hindi po pwede yun. Hindi po pwede na maging requirement. It is not a requirement for any senior citizen to be a registered voter before he could enjoy the benefits extended by the local government units. Because to require a voter to register is unconstitutional because it is as if the senior citizen or the PWD is forced to register and or vote because the exercise of suffrage must be voluntary. Hindi pwedeng ito ay ipinupwersa sa atin. If you want to vote, you vote. If you don't like to vote, you don't have to vote. If you want to register as a voter, you register. If you don't want to register as a voter, you may not register as a voter. There is no violation at all. Now, pag sinabi sa inyo na kailangan magpa-register kayo as a voter, yan po ay labag sa batas. Labag sa ating constitution because no one should be forced or be compelled to register just to enjoy a benefit being extended by the law. So we would like to reiterate that voters ID or voters registration is not a requirement for senior citizens or PWD to enjoy the benefits extended to them by law. We have a very good case, mga kaibigan. Dito po sa City of Manila, the City of Manila, I said medyo ka po ito senior citizen friendly or PWD friendly. Can we show the next slide? Yes, the City of Manila, ito ho, noong April 3, 2020, nag-issue po si Mayor Isko Moreno ng isang resolution wherein the City of Manila repealed a provision of its ordinance number 8565 requiring PWD to register as a voter before they could receive the 500 monthly allowance. Nung una, yan po ang provision nila sa Maynila before Isko Moreno became the mayor. There is that provision na kailangan before you receive your senior or your PWD benefit, you must be a registered voter of Manila. But on April 3, 2020, we are very, very happy to note that Mayor Isko Moreno repealed this particular provision of the ordinance. And now, senior citizens or PWD may receive their 500 monthly allowance without being a registered voter of Manila. But the question is, paano po namin patutunayan na sila talaga yung mga residente ng Maynila, which is the basic requirement? Well, madali pong patunayan. Sa barangay po, you can just get a certification from the barangay that he is a resident of that particular barangay in the City of Manila. So hindi ho kailangan ay yung voters registration, kundi even a certificate of residency from the City of from the barangay of the City of Manila is sufficient in order to enjoy the benefits extended by the local government units. Alam po kasi ninyo, maraming mga local government units ang nagbibigay ng iba't ibang mga benefits. In some local government units, they extend free movies every day. Sa ibang LGUs, hindi po ganun. In some LGUs, they give additional pension benefits, which is not available in other LGUs. Bakit po ganun? Bakit iba't iba? Well, it always depend po. It depends on the financial capability of the local government units as to how much they could extend financial benefits to their senior citizens or to PWDs. Kaya kung kayo'y nakatira sa mayamang munisipyo o syudad, mas mayaman po ang tatanggapin ninyo o mas malaki po ang inyong tatanggapin mula sa inyong local government units. Next po. Ito, maganda po ito. Republic Act 10868. This is what we call the Centenarians Act of 2010, 2016. Ito pong Centenarian Acts of 2016, ito po yung nagbibigay ng 100,000 pesos pagdating po natin ng 100 years old. When we reach 100 years old, we receive 100 pesos, 100,000 pesos. Again, to those who are listening, mga foreigners who are participating in this program, in the Philippines, once you reach 100 years old, you receive 100,000 pesos. And this is payable the first Sunday of October. Kaya nga ngayon po, yung Elderly Week. this is why we call this Centenarians Act of 2016, because this benefit of 100,000 pesos is given either on the first Sunday of October or during the actual 100th birthday of the centenarian. So, kung halimbawa kayo magiging 100 years old by December, sa December pa ninyo matatanggap ang inyong benefits as a centenarian. So, what are the requirements? You know, we have a lot of problems encountered insofar as this benefit is concerned. Because most of our senior citizens, they were born before the war or during the war of World War II. So sabi nila, how could we prove? How could we prove our age, 100 years of age? Eh, ang mga records namin nasira na. Most of our birth records were destroyed during the war. And this really is a problem insofar as some senior citizens are concerned. But the law is very, very lenient insofar as the extension of this benefit is concerned. You know, any of the following documents could be used. Ano? Maaari pong magamit ang alinman sa mga sumusunod na dokumento. For instance, the birth or baptismal certificate of the children, ano? Halimbawa, yung mga birth certificate ng inyong anak. Because in the birth certificate of your children, it shows the date, the age of the mother. So if you know the age of the mother on the date of birth of your children, you could already compute the age of the mother as of now. Kaya yung mga senior citizens na gusto mag-claim claiming to be 100 years old, they can use the birth certificate of their children. I know that because, you know, my mother-in-law is 103 years old, and she already received her 100,000 pesos centenarian gift, and we only used the birth certificates of her 9 children, no, siyam na anak niya, and from the birth certificates of the 9 children, we were able to present the actual age of of my mother-in-law. So she received her 100,000 pesos when she reached 100 years old. The baptismal certificate of your children will also show your age during the baptism of your children, so you could easily compute your age as of now. The marriage certificate of the senior citizen will also show kung ilang itaon ka na nung ikaw ikinasal. So you can easily compute your age. Even the school records of the senior citizen is are also valid documents to prove the age of the senior citizen. The senior citizen card, ano, ID card of the senior citizen when he applied for his senior citizen's card could also be basis. Now, if we don't have all these documents, the law also allows the affidavits of two interested persons. Dapat affidavit daw po ng dalawang disinterested persons, no, who have personal knowledge of the centenarian's actual age, provided that the person making the affidavit is at least 80 years old. Diba? Para masabi naman na talagang alam niya to prove that he knows the circumstances of the birth of the centenarian. So these are the documents being considered or allowed by law to prove the that the centenarian is really 100 years old. Now, insofar as we're concerned, at present, we have introduced some amendments. Pakibalik lang po doon sa ating the proposed amendments. Yeah, we made some representations in Congress, yung mga kaibigan natin, mga congressmen and senators, that if possible, this particular law should be amended. How should it be amended? Well, of course, if you reach 100 years old, you get 100,000 pesos. But after receiving 100,000 pesos, ano mangyayari? What will happen to the centenarian? Will he just enjoy the 100,000 pesos and after that, wala na? So we are proposing, and I hope Congress will consider it, that once you reach 100 years old, the senior citizen or the centenarian should at least receive 25,000 peso monthly allowance. Dapat magkaroon na sila ng monthly pension. 20,000, 25,000 at least monthly. Because, when you reach 100 years old, well, that's really the time when you need a lot of sustenance. You need a lot of assistance from the government. You need assistance for the purchase of your medicine. Especially, itong marami tayong mga centenarians. We have a lot of centenarians. I think 100,000, 200,000 of our centenarians are still living in the Philippines. And once you reach 100,000, 100 years old, it's very, very obvious that you need a lot of assistance from our government. So we are proposing that at least we get this 25,000 pesos monthly for our centenarians after reaching the age of 100 years old. Now, we go to another topic, to social pension. A lot of senior citizens are saying, why are we not entitled to social pension? Ano ba itong social pension? Alam po niyo yung social pension, it does not apply to all senior citizens. Ang ating pong social pensions are only given to indigent senior citizens. The next slide will show you who are considered as indigent or indigent senior citizens. Under the law, it's very clear. The frail, the sickly, or with disability, yan ho ang tinatawag nating indigent. Yung mga talagang may sakit, yung talagang mayroong disability without any pension from the government na walang tinatanggap na anumang biyaya sa ating pamahalaan. Pag sila po ay ganyan, wala silang permanent income, yung halos, pardon the word, halos palaboy po. Halos palaboy ng mga senior citizens natin. Sila po ang binibigyan ng social pension. In other words, hindi po lahat ng mga senior citizen ay nabibigyan ng social pension. At magkano ba yung social pension ito? Our next slide will show how much. Ito po ay 500 pesos every month. But the 500 pesos every month is given every quarter, or 1,500 pesos every quarter. Every quarter, ibig sabihin, January, February, March. So sa March, tatanggapin nyo yan. Or June, March, April, May, June, then September and December. So the social pension is given every quarter, not every month. And it's a total of 1,500 pesos is received by the social pensioner. Now, how do we apply for this benefit? Well, the senior citizen indigent may apply it from the Office for Senior Citizens Affairs. Ano ba yung OSCA? Office for the Senior Citizens Affairs. Where is it located? It is located at the office of your mayor. Yan pong tanggapan ng OSCA ay nasa tanggapan ng mayor ng inyong lugar. Mayor of the municipality or mayor of the city. Or you may apply sa City or Municipal Social Welfare Development Office or DSW Regional Office. So kayo po ay po pwede magtungo sa mga nasabing tanggapan para mag-apply ng nasabing social pension. Medyo mahigpit nga lang po requirement, but there's no harm in trying. So kayo po mga senior citizens, do not tell, just say na, naku, bakit hanggang ngayon wala pa akong pension? Kasi nga po, yung pension ay hindi para sa lahat. Yan ay para lamang sa indigent or indigent senior citizens. Yung mga may sakit, matatanda, na walang tinatanggap na anumang ayuda sa ating pamahalaan. And another thing that you should consider, remember, those SSS or GSIS pensioners are not qualified to receive social pension from the government. So remember that, hindi po sila nabibigyan ng benepisyo yung mga SSS or GSIS. Bakit? Because you do not fall under the definition of an indigent. Kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, sa indigent, kailangan wala kayong tinatanggap na anumang benefit from the government. But I think this law again has to be amended because yung SSS and GSIS pensions are not coming from the government, legally speaking, because these are contributions of the senior citizens during their employment, di ba? Noong nag-employee pa sila sa private firms, Ito'y binabayad sa SSS. Yung employee sila ng government sa GSIS. In other words, they are not receiving any benefits from the government. So they also fall within the definition of senior citizens not receiving any benefit from the government. So dapat kahit SSS pensioners or GSIS pensioners should be given also, especially those who are receiving very small amount of pension from SSS or GSIS. Na alam naman natin na yung kailang pension ay napakaliit. Kasi kung halimbawa, napakadami rin naman yung dependent and the pension being received from SSS or GSIS is that enough? Then I think the government should consider also extending to them some social pension benefits. Kasi nga po, as I said, the benefits or pension they are receiving are not benefits from the government because these are earned income which they contributed during their employment. Sabi nga when the youth is gone and the work is done by these senior citizens, I think the consolation that you should receive is at least as compassion from the government. Justice without compassion, sabi nga nila, is no justice at all. So this is one benefit which we try to convince our lawmakers to at least add to this centenarian's law. And we just look forward for a favorable action from the government. Next slide, please. Discounts on water and electric bills. Of course, alam naman natin na tayong mga senior citizen, we are entitled to 5% discount sa electric bills and water bills. But there is a provision that the 5% discount can only be extended if the consumption does not exceed 100 kilowatt hours or of electricity, or our consumption of water does not exceed 30 cubic meters. Maganda sana ang batas, kaya lang parang half-hearted ang pagkakagawa. Because if you consume, halimbawa, 101 kilowatt hours, you are no longer entitled to the discount because it says provided that the consumption does not exceed 100 kilowatt hours. Or if you consume 31 cubic meters, hindi ka rin entitled. Para ba sinasabi, pagdating ng 30 cubic meters, kayo mga senior citizens, huwag na kayong iinom kasi wala na kayong diskwento. So we have been proposing, and I don't know why our lawmakers have not taken action on our proposal, that this particular provision of the law should be amended. Napakadali naman ng amendment. All we are asking is that the law should be amended in such a way that the 5% discount should be extended for the first 100 kilowatt hours or the first 30 cubic meters. Very, very simple lang naman, hindi ba? That kung ang consumption mo is 100 kilowatt hours, then dapat meron kang discount or 30 cubic meters. So if you consume 120 kilowatt hours of electricity, then at least the first 100 kilowatt hours should be given the 5% discount. Or if you consume 35 cubic meters of water, at least yung 30 cubic meters, the first 30 cubic meters should be given the 5% discount. But again, masyadong mahigpit ang batas natin. Until now, the government has not taken action on this particular proposal. But of course, all of these are the benefits received by our seniors and by our PWDs. And we just look forward to further amendments of these benefits from our lawmakers. Meron pa bang, do we still have the time? Great. Republic Act 7277, most of our PWD, this particular provision pertains to the benefits also extended to our PWDs. Kasi marami naman sa kanila ay pwede pa rin naman magtrabaho. So under 7277, they are given the chance to work. But there are times when they are also the victims of verbal and non-verbal ridicules or vilifications. And because of that, at the Republic Act 7277, ito po ay ginawa ng ating batas na wherein certain acts were defined as punishable if these are committed against our PWDs. Next slide. And these are the following acts. Ano ba yung mga pinagbabawal ng batas? Making fun or contemptuous, imitating or making mockery of persons' disability, whether in writing, in words, or in action. Yung ba pinagtatawanan natin sila, ginagaya ang kanilang mga ginagawa. Minsan sa mga TV shows, yung mga biruan nila, nagagamit yan. And we have received some complaints against some shows, TV shows, wherein they made fun or contemptuous imitation of some disability suffered by our persons with disability. Utterance of slanderous and abusive words against PWDs. Yung mga pagbibigay ng masasakit na mga salita laban sa mga PWDs. And what are the penalties for those people who commit a crime against these PWDs? Imprisonment of not more than 2 years or a fine of 50,000 to 100,000 pesos in imprisonment. Next slide, please. Now, in order also to assist ang ating mga PWDs in terms of employment or in order to see to it that their capabilities are still used by the government or yung pwede pa sila makapagtrabaho, binibigyan din sila ng opportunity to work in the government or in the private sector. For instance, Republic Act 10524, this is a very good law, wherein 1% of all positions, 1% of all positions in all government agencies shall be reserved for PWDs. In other words, 1% po ng lahat ng mga posisyon sa ating pamahalaan ay sinasabi na dapat ito ay i-reserva sa PWDs. And this is the reason why you see in our government a lot of PWDs being employed or at work. Ayan ang sinasabi ng Republic Act 10524. And also private companies, but in the case of private companies, they are merely encouraged. Hinihimok lamang sila. It is not required of them, but they are being encouraged to reserve at least 1% of their positions for PWDs. If they employ more than 100 employees, at least 1% sana ay i-reserve nila sa PWDs. And of course, the local government units, they are also required to reserve at least 1% of all positions in their offices. And they are required to submit to the Civil Service Commission compliance with these particular directives. Next slide, identification documents. This is also a lot of contentions also have arisen on this issue of identification documents. Alam po ninyo, nung una, kailangan sinasabi nila before you could avail of any discount, you need the senior citizens card. Kailangan daw yun ang ma-issue. Hindi na po yan ang batas ngayon. Of course, the first requirement is if you want to avail of the benefits extended by law, you may use your senior citizen card. But if you do not have a senior citizen's card, the law says any government issued ID, kahit po anong government issued ID is honored. For instance, driver's license, passport, voter's ID, SSS card, GSIS card, which shows the date of birth of the senior citizen. Minsan sinasabi ng establishments, kasi dapat hindi nyo kinalilimutan yung inyong senior citizens card. Ay sinasabi ko sa kanila, kaya nga kami mga senior citizens, malilimutin na kami. Kaya sabi ng batas, any government issued card is a valid card or ID for the senior citizen. Kaya kayong mga senior citizens, even if you do not have your senior citizens card, you may still be entitled to the discounts through the use of any valid government-issued ID. The next item, please. And yes, there are penalties, mga kaibigan. There are penalties if a person refuses to honor a senior citizen's card or violation of the law or the implementing rules and regulation. Nandiyan po yung first violation. You may be fined of not less than 50,000 pesos, but not exceeding 100,000 pesos. and imprisonment for not less than 2 years but not more than 6 years. Ang ibig sabihin, multa at pagkakabilanggo, yan po ang mga penalties. Any violator may suffer imprisonment and a fine. Kaya we always tell our establishments na please do not refuse a senior citizen of his rights and his privileges. Next item. That's the first violation. Now, what about in subsequent violation? Well, there's still the fine of 100,000 in case of subsequent violation, but the penalty has been increased to 100,000 to 200,000 pesos. Kanina, 50,000 to 100, but subsequent violation, 100,000 pesos, but not exceeding 200,000 pesos. And again, imprisonment of not less than 2 years, but not more than 6 years. You know, we already have a lot of cases filed, and we are very happy also na yun mga establishments, once they are informed of the law and of the benefits of our senior citizens, pumapayag naman sila to settle the matter. However, there are also penalties for persons who abuses the privileges. Kapag hindi naman senior, sinasabi niyang siya ay senior, o a senior citizen is allowing another person to make use of his senior citizen's card, may penalty din po dyan. A penalty of a fine of not less than 50,000 pesos, but not more than 100,000 pesos, and imprisonment of not less than 6 months. Siguro nabalitaan nyo na yung, especially in the PWD cases, yung isang pamilya na lahat sila ay mga PWDs. Ano? I think 7 members of the families, they were issued PWD's ID. Naging headline news po yan, and I think it is still under investigation. At yan po yung nangyari sa Quezon City. That they say that is a clear abuse of the privileges extended by law. But we don't know what happened and if they really are persons with disability. But you can just imagine 7 members of the family, halos ang lahat ng kanilang mga problema ay hearing disability daw or sa mata ang mga disabilities nila. So it's still pending investigation before the city government of Quezon City. We also have some proposed amendments. No? Tayo ay nagbibigay din ng other proposed amendments. And of course, next item please. Ang ating free parking inside the malls. Kasi sa mga malls po, hindi na tayo in other malls, of course, meron. But it's not uniform among the mall owners. Ano? Kaya we are requesting for a uniform ruling on the parking privileges of our senior citizens. At least, I think the most reasonable number of hours that should be extended to senior citizens or PWDs is at least 3 hours free parking is enough. Pwede na mabigyan yon. And of course, they must show the receipt that they have purchased something from the malls. Kaya ang ating proposal, in order to have a uniform ruling on this matter, at least for the government to issue a ruling giving senior citizens and PWDs free parking inside the malls for at least 3 hours. And itong aming pinipropose, free movies anywhere in the Philippines, whether or not senior citizen or PWD is a resident of the area where the movie house is located. Kasi ang ruling ngayon, kung saan ka nakatira, doon ka lamang may libreng sine. If you are from Makati, then all Makati residents all Makati senior citizens are entitled to free movies in Makati. But if you're from Zamboanga, you go to Makati, you don't enjoy this benefit. So what we are saying is, bigyan mo na ng free movies anywhere. Anyway, hindi naman napupuno yung mga sinihan, hindi ko ba? Para naman lumalabas na pag isang taga Mindanao napunta ng Makati, parang hindi ka fellow senior citizen. Parang sinasabi mo dun sa mga taga Mindanao, hindi ka pwede sa Makati. Para sa mga Makati lang ito, hindi pwede sa mga taga Mindanao. So dapat tayo mga senior citizens, nagmamahal tayo sa kapwa senior citizens natin. Nasa departure age na tayo, kaya dapat sama-sama tayo, tulong-tulong tayo. That's why I've been saying this free movie should also be extended to senior citizens wherever they are. Anywhere in the Philippines, dapat free movies na sa mga senior citizens. Finally, mga kaibigan, of course, there are also some legitimate complaints. Ito sinasabi ko kanina, the illegal or unauthorized issuance of senior citizens cards and PWD cards. And I think the local government unit should look into this issue and those responsible should be punished. Ito po yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina na isang pamilya na bigyan ng 7 members. Ay nabigyan sila ng PWD IDs. And of course, senior organizations, there are some senior citizens organizations issuing IDs, even to those who are not yet senior citizens. Marami pong mga sama senior organizations daw, and I would say they are not legitimate senior citizens organizations, and they are only using the organizations for money-making activities. They are issuing IDs to people who are not senior citizens. May makikita kayo dyan, sinasabi, kahit na po hindi kayo senior, bibigyan namin kayo ng ID. So, ang ginagawa, binibigyan ng ID ang mga hindi pa senior citizen, and nasabihin senior citizen na sila. And some establishments are being approached and confronted with this senior citizens card issued by senior citizens organization. Lagi tinatanong sa akin, Attorney Mac, pwede ba namin tanggapin ito? The answer is no. Organizations or establishments or stores or any grocery units are not required to accept or honor IDs issued by senior citizens organization. Kasi ang sinasabi ng batas, only IDs, valid IDs issued by the government issued IDs should be used by the senior citizens and the persons with disabilities. Kaya kailangan po, tandaan ninyo, only government-issued IDs are honored. So, because of time constraints, I only limited my discussion on the basic rights and privileges and the laws applicable to seniors and PWDs. And I look forward to more webinar like this. And I'd like to thank the organizers for giving chance to our senior citizens to be heard on this seminar. Thank you very much and good morning. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you so much, Attorney Romy. It was such a good discussion of the benefits, and we're excited on the future amendments of the benefits of the senior citizens. Our chat box is very active right now. May I ask Dr. Mike Baclig to help me with the question and answer portion?
Yes, okay.
Thank you again, Attorney Maclintal, for that very engaging talk. So there are more than 20 questions right now, but for the interest of time, we will just read a few. So the first question is from Dr. Sanchez, and she asked, my grandma turned 100 in 2014. She lives in Iloilo.
Kailan daw?
2014.
2013?
2014. 14.
Okay.
She received 1,000 only, along with 14 centenarians, because
how much centenarian?
14, 1-4.
And
she only received 1,000 pesos only.
Okay.
And the reason behind, there was no budget. She died in 2016. The question is, can my mom, who took care of her, still get the benefit?
Okay. If the centenarian died on 2014, 2014 ba?
2016, Doc. 2016, Attorney.
2016, hindi 2014.
She turned 100 po on 2014.
I thought sinasabi 2013 kanina. Well, if she died in 2016, when the law is approved, then and the reason why he did not or she did not receive the 100,000 pesos is because of lack of funds, then the children who spent for the burial or any services rendered to the centenarian can still pursue their claim. Kasi ang sinasabi nila, lack of funds. So if there is already a fund available, then they can always claim that. Kasi yung 1,000 pesos sa burial lang yun eh. Now, yung centenarian's gift, that is under another law, that is under Republic Act 10868.
Thank you, Attorney. So there's another question po. If you are a lifetime member of PhilHealth as senior and you are still working, why are still paying PhilHealth contributions at tumaas pa?
Under the law kasi, yung mga, those who are working, they are really required to contribute sa PhilHealth. Itong exemption under the law, the exemption is only given to senior citizens na who are not members of the PhilHealth. So there is really a disparity between the members who are still employed and those members who are not employed, but automatically they get the benefits from the PhilHealth company. Kaya may konting problema nga dyan, and I think this matter should be addressed directly sa the Department of Health and the PhilHealth organizations.
Thank you again. Maybe for the final question, is the 12% exempt only for medicines?
No, the 12% is not only for medicines, mineral supplements, transportation, entertainment, funeral expenses, lahat ng services that would be rendered for the senior citizens, to which the services or the goods being purchased are subjected to VAT should be given the 12% deduction or exemption. Lahat po ng ating binibili. Pag tayo nagpunta sa mga restaurants, we get the 20% deductions, not only for medicines, but all items enumerated under the law which are purchased or bought by our senior citizens.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Mike Baclig, and thank you, Attorney, for answering the questions. There are still more questions in the chat box. We will try, Attorney Maclintal will try to answer those in the chat box po, if he still have time. For the meanwhile, we will turn over to Dr. Dino for the certificate of appreciation for Attorney Maclintal.
Okay, so thank you very much, Ms. Kat, and I'm pleased to virtually award our certificate to our experienced, excellent, and wonder first speaker. So it reads, Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium, in cooperation with Far Eastern University and Our Lady of Fatima University, present this certificate of appreciation to Attorney Romulo B. Macalintal for exhibiting exemplary knowledge and competence as our speaker in the webinar, The Road to Super Seniors, The Science of Aging, Session 3. This October 3, 2020, from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The electronic certificate was virtually signed by yours truly, Dr. Michael Joseph Dino, Director, RDIC OLFU, Dr. Generoso B. Pamitan, Director, University Research Center, Far Eastern University, Dr. Hilton Y. Lam, Director, MMHRDC, and Dr. Carmencita Padilla, the lead convener of the MMHRDC. Let us all offer our virtual clap, and thank you very much, Attorney Macalintal.
Salamat, salamat. It's a great honor and privilege to be with you.
Okay, thank you so much again, Attorney Romulo B. Macalintal. So for our next speaker, moving forward, equally engaging speaker. She is a soul who is energized by the work of valuing, finding value in, and adding value to people. Creating legacies is a distillation of her wisdom accumulated through time and weathered by age about how one lives deliberately and then leaves the world better than you found it. In this talk, her aim is to make the participants reflect on what kind of legacies they want to bestow on those who will survive them. The realization that legacy is meant to be lived and now is the time to do it is the major takeaway. There's also a formula that is offered for how to curate one's experiences so that they build on each other, leading to a significant life that makes inevitable the creation of a legacy. What is your verse? The memorable lines in the 1989 movie Dead Poet Society is a call to action that is expressed to challenge the participants to begin the examined life. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dr. Annabel R. Borromeo.
Thank you, Case. Can you hear me?
Yes, po.
Yes, okay. So I'd like to share my screen now, please. Okay. So I'm turning on my video. Can you see me? Yes, you can. All right. By the way, I am going to, I have put this on an interactive platform. And so I am going to request you all to go on menti.com, please. And sorry, I'm just making sure that okay. So can you see my screen? Creating legacies.
Yes, po.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Case, for that nice intro. Now I was asked to present to you an experiential view of how legacies are created. So please join me at menti.com and type the code 666260. So 666260. Thank you very much for the feedback. Now, just to make sure that our Mentimeter works, let me just start with a fun quiz. There are 4 shapes in front of you. What shape best resonates with your personality? So I'm not talking here about the body shape. Obviously, I'm talking here about your personality. So which one of the 4 is a shape that you think resonates best with your personality? Okay, so we're slowly getting the audience to participate here. And thank you for participating once again. So 33 people have registered their vote. And I can see that that the majority are circles. I think 56% are circles. So slowly we are getting more participants. Thank you very much for responding. And I think if we look at it, the circles are winning. Now, this is a research-based tool that I recently found on the internet. And I just want to make sure that you take this seriously because it really has implications for your ability to create a legacy. Okay. So still the circles are winning, 54%. There's more circles in this group. Okay, so I'm going to stop now. I'm going to stop this slide and let's take a look at exactly what these shapes mean. So I can see that the majority of you are circles, and then there's an equal, well, then the next one are squares, and then the hexagons, and very little triangles, only 10%. So 53%, 20%, 17, and 10%. So let's take a look. If you are square, then it's nice for creating a legacy because you're very smart and intelligent. So congratulations to all of you. There's 27% of you who are smart in the audience. Okay. And if you chose the triangle, which is like 17% of you are very dependable. And so these are the people who, by slowly, through dint of hard work, are able to produce and create a legacy because of their dependability. Okay. And then you have the hexagons. And the hexagons are risk takers. So these are the creative people in the group, very creative, they take risks. And because of their ability then to invent, they too have a high degree of the ability to create a legacy. But as you saw, the majority of the group are circles. So let's take a look at what circles are. How do they create their legacy? Let's take a look. Oh, isn't that interesting? A lot of you are preoccupied with sex. So I think that's good because with sex comes procreation and therefore legacies. Our children are legacies, are legacies as well. So don't take this too seriously because this is just something that I thought about to warm you all up so that you can get interested in creating this legacy lecture. Okay, now let's proceed. Again, another test. The word that best describes how I feel right now is, join me. Are you excited? Do you feel flat? Are you depressed or are you joyful? Someone said, oh, they just feel flat. A lot are joyful, excited. Two are depressed. I feel sorry for the two who are depressed today. Okay. So I can see that the positive emotions are winning today. Lots of us are excited. Lots of us are joyful. Some are just feeling flat. And 3 are depressed. Okay. So we start off really great, feeling great here. We're either joyful or excited. And I hope those who are feeling flat today and who are feeling depressed will feel better after all these lectures, these very interesting lectures that you will be, hearing today. Okay. So let me just get this out right away out of the door that I am 65 years old and yes, I am a senior. And hopefully I'm on my way to becoming a super senior. There's a lot of food for thought, I guess, in the past 3 days about how we all can plan to become super seniors. So I've been enjoying the benefits of the good attorney's a lecture, all that he has talked about for the last 5 years. And I am really thankful that I have been given this opportunity to enjoy these benefits. At this age, every day that comes to pass is a blessing. And so that is the gratitude is actually the emotion and the attitude that I bring to the table every day. Now, those of you who do not know me, I just want to say that I am a nurse by profession, and I have lived a lot of my career in the United States. I used to work in Texas, and I also completed 3 of my degrees there after having graduated with a nursing degree here in the Philippines. I left for the United States, hoping that I would well, the dream was to just live my life there, retire there, etc. However, because of the legacy, I guess, that I have been called to live halfway during my journey, I uh, returned to the Philippines in a very joyful way. I wasn't at all forced into returning. There were a series of situations that made me realize that I wasn't really doing enough, I think, for my country. And so my husband and I decided that we wanted to live the 20 years of our still productive lives back home. And this is the reason why I have lived here for the last 20 years back in the Philippines. And that decision has never been regretted. Anyway, just before I retired, I was Senior Vice President of St. Luke's Medical Center, Quezon City, on the operations side. And I was the Chief Nursing Officer for both the Quezon City and the global city, St. Luke's. And really, a lot of the experiences that I am going to share with you culminated in that place where I was able to really ensure that the talents that I had uh, were put to maximal use in these positions. And then after that, I retired, but another job came up, and this was a lead for the human resource for health strengthening system for Chemonix, which is a US-based NGO or a US-based company. So on assignment with USAID and the DOH. And I worked there for more than a year. Today, I am director of an NGO, the Center for the Center for Nurse Value and Impact on Patient Outcomes. And so, even if I am officially retired, there are certain other activities that I make myself busy with. So, the assignment that was given me today is to try to provide you with a perspective of being retired doesn't have to be from work, doesn't have to mean being retired from life. We need to continue to engage. And I was under the mistaken notion that when one retires, now you have the time, we have the time to live a slower life, one that will allow us to smell the roses and maybe read all the books that we've been planning to read that we keep on buying, but we haven't had the time to read. So during retirement is the time when you plan to do all these things that you have never had the time to do. And also, because we need to be very holistic, we seniors cannot just be laying in bed and not being active. So I had hoped that I could get back to the exercise regimen that I was used to when I was younger, which I was always asking myself to continue doing or to start doing, but then there was always an excuse of, I'm always busy. But then during retirement, there's no excuse. And so during retirement, actually, I went back to exercising, but I found that because age had caught up with me and my body, my physical body, that I needed to make certain adjustments, just that like the lady that you see on the right there, that she really has been my idol. I've been trying to do the split like that, the way that she has done. I haven't been able to meet that goal yet. So I guess she's an example of a super senior. Okay, now, in terms of creating a legacy, could you Now name the person who has left you with a lasting impression, who has left you with a legacy. It can be someone whom you know personally, or it can be someone whom you look up to, someone who is larger than life. Could you, if you can, write the name of that person? Can you do that? Okay, my dad. Very good. Mervic Katada. Someone mentioned my name. Thank you very much. Okay, so family members. Yes, your mom, Eleanor Genovi. Dad, my Lola. So mostly family members. Mommy, grandparents, Dad, Ariel Villanueva, Mother Matea. Okay. So many of your heroes are actually members of your family. There's someone who really has a great relationship with her mother-in-law. And Dr. Carmel Divina Gracia is out there too. Of course, she's one of our nursing leaders. My pastor, grandfather, professor, my biology teacher. That is great. Miss Mendoza. Miss Flores, my clinical instructor in nursing. Okay, there is a crush that has made an impression on one of our participants. Parents, cousin. So that's the full, you have a lot of relatives who have made impressions on you. I can see that your parents mostly have touched your lives in a way that legacies are created. Okay. Now, let me just, and you can continue. Attorney Makalintal. Okay. Ariel Villanueva, thank you very much. Okay, now, you can continue to do that because even if as I move my slides forward, you can still add. So what did that memorable person do? Why do you remember that person fondly? Could you just share with me very briefly what that memorable person gave you that has made an impression? Okay. Now, this is a word cloud. And so what word clouds do is they consolidate the answers so that the more people share the same answers, the bigger and the more central the location of the contribution to the word cloud. Okay, so here you can see that the leading answer is my life. So the fact that our mother or our parents have contributed to our lives are remembered by us. But as we move forward and we look at more words, we can see that now if somebody shows us their caring, their love, their guidance, support, their words of wisdom, we see now that these are what are most important, and these are what provide us with the impression that these people are leaving a legacy. Their wisdom, their unconditional love, and I see that the central word that has been really used has been love, caring, and guidance, and the words of wisdom. Okay, thank you for sharing. Um, really, a lot of people will say, you know, it's being cheesy to say that love. If we show people that we love them, that in itself will provide them with the notion that something is memorable. That is something that I look for when I look at this word cloud. I see that love indeed is something that would help us with our legacies. Okay. Now, you ask me, who are the people that impressed you the most? And I will share a picture of these three individuals who have really contributed to what I believe in, to what I believe my legacy should be. And every time I listen to them through their audiobooks or read about them through the books that I purchase about them, or when I go on the internet, of all of the people that I could have chosen, I chose these three people. And I know you are familiar with them. So, what I'm trying to point out is people come into our lives, and because of the experience that we have with them, they point out something that's important that helped to build our character. And so as we move through life and we journey through life and we meet people, there are ideas, there are tenets, there are emotions that these people impart that make us feel like this is something that we could hold on to. And then in our journey, we look for something important that we will prioritize. So when people come into your lives, whether they be good influences or bad influences, there is always a reason for why we meet them or why we suddenly read about them. So this word is important later on. This word important will be important later on. So why do I like Gandhi? What about Gandhi has made him memorable to me? So here is what his life says. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. So I've always been a proponent of making this world better than I found it in my little circle of influence. And Gandhi has given me a reason or a method, a methodology, and that is through peaceful means. He didn't have to do a revolution to change what needed to change in his culture, but through his quiet steadfastness and his gentle ways, he was really able to shake the world. So that is what I learned from Gandhi. From Albert Einstein, I learned that it's okay to make mistakes, that we should forgive ourselves when we make mistakes. However, we cannot keep on doing the same thing over and over again and expect that we get different results. He says that if a mistake happens, you learn from it and you move on. But then if you think that doing the same thing that you've always done before will produce a different result, then that you're insane. You're insane is what he is trying to say. Excuse me. Okay, so here again is an example of a person who is larger than life, but who has made such an impression on me that every day that I come to work, I always say, why am I doing the same thing over and over again? And then I expect a different result. Something has to change. Okay. So, and lastly, I chose Andres Bonifacio, although of course, Jose Rizal is our hero. But I really like the way that Andres Bonifacio showed how much he loves the Philippines. If you look at his writing, he's very patriotic, very nationalistic. And here is one of the things that he wrote: aling pag-ibig pa ang hihigit kaya sa pagkadalisay at pagkadakila gaya ng pag-ibig sa tinubuang lupa. Aling pag-ibig pa, wala na nga, wala. So from him, I learned the love of country. Ah, and then closer to home, of course, my parents were great influencers as well. I remember my father really brought us to watch good quality movies. He was also a very working person. Both of them have gone ahead now. But when I think about how I love movies and how I appreciate movies and the lessons that they impart, that came definitely from my father and from my mother. Uh, Honesty, integrity, uh, being true to yourself, telling the truth, and of course, hard work. Those are what both of them, left to me. Okay, so the next question now is what legacy will we leave? And that is a question that I would like to contribute to this conversation. So if we self reflect, we understand that every second that passes by um, really is time that we can never get back. There is no turning back time. And whenever we wake up every morning, we know that we have 86,400 seconds that we can either squander or we can put to good use. Each one of us is given the same amount of time, and yet some of us use the time more productively than others. Not that we compare ourselves with someone else, but to realize that we each have been given this package of time on a daily basis every day. And how we choose to use the time is what creates that legacy. So the goal really is not to live forever because we know that's not real. No one lives forever except Jesus Christ. Okay. But to create something that will. So even if physically our bodies cannot stay on this earth forever, but there is always this opportunity to create something that will last, even if our physical bodies have left. So then we start to realize that we cannot wait until the end of our lives to live our legacy. That legacy needs to be created every single day that we live and are given the time and the opportunity. So we want to be able to ensure that legacy is lived on a daily basis. So those of you who are my age or who are around my age, the admonition really is to live your life um, as if it were your last day, okay, as if there were no tomorrow. And when you start living in that way, then you create opportunities for stepping into living a legacy that that you can leave eventually. Those of you who are younger and who are still not thinking about leaving a legacy, I suggest and I highly recommend that you think about living your legacy. LIVE, not leave, living your legacy. Because when you start thinking about it when you're older, that's just so much time left uh, for you to have squandered. And so you need to live a purposeful life. Having lived 65 years on this earth now, I know that yes, there have been times when I did not really live my fullest potential. Uh, and yes, those mistakes, if they may be called mistakes, you forgive yourself. Okay, part of living your legacy is to say, you did your best at the time. So there. And as the famous Eric Erickson, who's of course the psychologist who taught us about the tasks from when we were from infancy up to the generativity stage. He says, I am what survives of me. So it's not really your physical body. Your soul isn't that. It's part of you, but it's not that. But it is what you have left behind, what survives of your physical body that defines who you are. Okay, so again, let us live the way we want to be remembered. And throughout all these different changes in life, and I guess I am maybe on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th panel because my husband I lost 2 years ago. And for some of you, you're just in your second panel or your third panel. But all of us will go through all this. Okay, that's the one thing that's sure. So I recently came across this book by Mark Friedman. And his argument is that we can actually live forever. And the way that we can live forever is to connect with the generation that comes after, after us. So meaning to say we have to start mentoring those who are younger than us. We have to start coaching those that have less experience than us. And those of us who are at this stage, our main responsibility is to connect with them, to help them to grow, and to add value to their lives. So how do we start doing that? Well, we start by really getting to the edge of our comfort zones. And what I mean by that is whatever it is that we are used to doing today, if you want to start leaving your legacy, you have to get to the very end and start doing things differently. Because remember what Einstein said? As long as we keep on doing the same thing every day and we expect a different result, then we are insane. Up to that point, we are insane. But if we start thinking very deliberately and clearly about where we want to end up, okay, if we want to leave a legacy, for example, then we begin to live life at the edge. And at the edge sometimes will mean that people will bash you or people will not appreciate you or people, naysayers will say, don't do this. So we have to start taking a little bit of risk. Now, I know that this group from the SHAPE test is not a risk-taking group. At least those that have registered their votes, because just very few of us are triangles. In fact, that is the lowest percentage of a group that has registered on our Mentimeter. And so, if we want to start living our legacy, then we need to start looking at the edge of our comfort zones and start easing towards those that make us feel uncomfortable. Okay, so the question that I ask of you is, what legacy do you want to leave behind? Is there a secret sauce? So I can only answer you from what I have experienced. And as I looked at and read the literature on leaving a legacy, I decided that perhaps I should come up with my own. So this is the Borromeo secret sauce that I will share with you. And the formula for me is I3M3 equals M. Okay. So even if you look at the literature, you will never find this. Because I think what life has really afforded me is a time to reflect and a time to create and develop my own lessons learned. And these are what have worked for me. So remember, I3M3 equals M. What does that mean exactly? Okay, we start with the letter I, the first letter I. The first letter I is for important. And I say this because Like I told you before, you need to hang on to ideas, to concepts, and people who contribute important things in your life, things that you consider important. Now, they may not be important to other people, but if your soul is saying to you, this is important, that honesty, integrity is important, that action is important, that following up action with, uh, um, yeah, following up words with action is important, then you hang on to this because your soul is saying, these are what are important to you. Okay. Another source of understanding what is important is what your childhood games looked like, what you wanted to portray, or when you were a child, what you role played. And I remember when I was a child, I was always role playing the role of a teacher. But I did not really, take up education. However, I find now that the role in all of the roles in my life, aside from being mother and wife, that have given me justification for a joyful life is my role as a teacher. So eventually I found my way to teaching. So the first I is important. The next I is impact. So those concepts, those attitudes, those values that are important, you find a way to create a whole that manifests in your life as an action that would create impact. And I'm not talking here about impacting the whole world. I'm talking about your sphere of influence. If you are able to, for example, impact or influence your students to be better scholars, to be better writers, to be better speakers, to have more integrity, those then create some kind of a legacy. Subconsciously, you're actually not intentionally doing that, but that is the impact that it will create. So the first is important, the second I is impact, and the third I is intent. Because when you have something that's important, creating impact, always ensure that your intent is pure. And the intent or the purpose is what will provide you with the motivation to continue, despite the fact that sometimes some of the things that we like to do, living at the edge of our comfort zones, we can easily get discouraged from pursuing these endeavors. But when the intent is pure and when the intent is strong, and when you find that this is now your purpose in life, then you start digging in and you start knowing that that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing at this point in your life. Okay, so that ends the first three. Now let's go to the next three, which are all starting with the letter M. And these three, the I, the important, impact, and intent, they all produce their own letter M's. So what is the first letter M? The first letter M is masterful. So you see, if you're doing something important, you become masterful in the way that it's done. Now, exactly what does masterful mean? It means that you become very skilled at doing something. You become adept. You become an authority, not being authoritarian, but you become an authority, become an expert. You become the consummate practitioner of whatever it is that you believe is important. So mastery is an important end result of applying yourself towards something important. The second one is about impact, which then produces meaningful experiences. So when we talk about what is meaningful, okay, the closest word that I really could, I guess I was looking for a synonym. And when you think about meaningful, it's looking for something that would really demonstrate or capture the spirit of meaningful. And I found this Greek word. It's a Greek word. It sounds Japanese, but it's actually a Greek word. And it's meraki. And what is meraki? It is to do something with soul, creativity, or love. To put something of yourself into your work. So as you start to live and live your legacy, you apply meraki. And what does it mean? It means you put your heart, your soul, and everything into your work. And that then creates something meaningful to you and hopefully the world. And lastly, mindful. So when you are intentional about something, you become very mindful. Now, the other thing that I learned about being mindful is that if you're able to separate part of you, part of your soul, to be an observer, so that you're judging yourself from a distance. And you don't really get affected then by the bashing and the criticism, the unfair criticism. Then you become a more mindful person. And in the reflection of the actions and the consequences of your decisions, then you are able to become a very mindful person. So these are the 3 I's and the 3 M's that I believe. So another word for mindful is to be careful, to be aware, to be very conscious, to be thoughtful, and to be observant. So when you are mindful, you are all this. There is an awareness of the effect of your words and the actions. And so that is for me the secret sauce. It's I3M3 equals M. So there is another M that is going to result from this I3M3. And that is the last M. That is a memorable life. And when you have a memorable life, this is what you will leave behind that people will remember. Okay. Again, I think living and creating a legacy is not something that you do on a conscious basis. Although there has to be the intent there of being good, being a force for good. So once you create this memorable aura, okay, people will remember your spirit, people will remember your contributions, and then you start to leave your legacy. So what's the opposite of memorable? Now we understand the word through its opposite. So if you do something memorable, you are unforgettable, you are remarkable, you are exceptional, you are more than ordinary, you are significant, you're important, you're impressive. That is what being memorable means. And that is how legacies are made. Because legacies are what survive when you get to be gone physically. Okay, so if you, just to bring home the point again, okay, so here is, we're at a cemetery right now, and this is what you normally will see in the tombstones, the name of the person, the year he was born, then a dash, and then the year that he died or she died. So the question is, when we die, what will our family, friends, and the world say about the life that we have lived? So once you see this, you realize that it is actually the dash that becomes the most important thing. Not the day, not the 2 dates at the end, but the dash in the middle. The day you were born is a given, the day you will die is a given, but it's the dash in the middle that makes legacy. So as we do this dash in the middle, we live our life and we leave footprints for tomorrow. And that is how legacies are made. Okay, so now I have to tell you that something happened to me at the age of 33. I was 33 years old. I was living in the United States. And because I love movies, I'm always the first one in line when there's a new movie out. And I watched this movie starring Robin Williams called Dead Poets Society. Now, those of you who are younger than me, if you haven't really seen this movie, I urge you to watch it because this is a life-changing movie, I would say. So this is a group of young men who were students at an all-boys school, and their lives were changed meaningfully by their instructor, their literature instructor, who happened to be a poet. And he actually taught them how to engage with poems. So at age 33, I watched this movie, and here I was so touched by this scene in the movie where Robin Williams said, "What is the point of engaging in poems when they're just words?" Okay. And then he said, "We engage with poems because that is how life is. That you are here, that life exists, and identity, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. That a powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. That the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse." And the last question asked was, "What will your verse be?" So all around, as we live our life, a play is going on. So we are asked the question, what is your verse going to be? Will you just stand by and not contribute? Or will you disrupt the play? Or will you contribute so that then it becomes the real tapestry of what life is? So that question has reverberated in my mind ever since many years ago. So here are some suggestions as to how you can leave a legacy. There are questions that will help you identify the legacy that you wish to leave. For example, one of the questions that you should ask and maybe try to answer today is, what do you want your life to stand for? How do you want to be remembered by your family and friends? What will those beyond your circle of family and friends remember you for? What kind of an impact do you want to have on your community? How will the world be a better place because you were in it? What contributions do you want to make to your field? Whose lives will you have touched? What lessons would you like to pass on to future generations? And what do you want to leave behind and how can you serve? So those are simple questions. They are simple when asked, but the answers really need a lot of soul searching, self-reflection, and then a commitment to living that kind of life that's not going to be easy. Okay, so let me again repeat the words that move me, that a powerful play goes on and that you may contribute a verse. So ladies and gentlemen, what verse are you going to be able to leave behind to contribute to this ongoing play? There are many things to do, actually. Here is a menu of what you can do. You can start writing a book, which then increases what people know about your field. You can be a mentor, you can volunteer, you can add knowledge to your field, you can leave a legacy through your body of work. If you are endowed financially, you can leave money for your descendants. You can start a business or a not-for-profit organization. You can start writing your memoir. You can start a blog. You can write down family recipes and traditions. There are many ways that you can do, many things that you can do to contribute and start building your legacy. Okay, So there are other things like you can endow a scholarship to your alma mater. Those of you who are my age, you can write a legacy letter. You can pass down skills and know-how. You can right a wrong. You can say sorry to someone who you've never spoken to in a long time. To identify your strength, develop your skills, and be true to who you are. For those of you who are still struggling in terms of why am I in this job when I actually don't enjoy it, I will tell you that that is the worst kind of stress that you are going to put yourself on. When you start living your true self and you start living a life that is true to who you are, then that becomes in itself a legacy. So what will you commit to starting today to create your legacy? Let me hear some of you. So we're almost at the end of this short sharing. So what do you think based on the 20 or 10 things that I suggest? What can you start doing today so that your legacy can then be created? May I hear from you, please? Start. You can go to Mentimeter. Adjust to changes and accept reality. Okay. Finish my master's. Be a mentor. All good answers. Be a mentor. Serve in the community. Be a good role model. Start writing a book. Okay, I prize virtue more than victory, sacrifice more than success. Start building relationships. Okay, that is great. Very good responses. Be a mentor. Start to vlog, but there's a ha ha ha. I'm serious. You can all start vlogging. Be more optimistic. Teach my children to be resilient. Serve the community. Do a good thing every day. Be dedicated, start a business. Okay, so like I said, start living at the edge of comfort. And maybe yes, starting a business might be the good thing to do today. Being a mentor and a nurse, being a single mom who has a registered nurse, to be beautiful inside and in times of challenges, to connect to people. Okay, so good. Thank you for connecting. So the only thing that I can start saying now is do whatever it is that you want to do now. So thank you so much for this time that you have given me. I hope that you have learned from some of the experiences that I have gone through and learned in all of my 65 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Borromeo. So now, how are we leaving our dash? Yung ating call from Dr. Borromeo. May I invite Dr. Hipona and Dr. Mike Baklig for the question and answer?
Again, thank you, Dr. Borromeo, for that very inspiring and informative talk. So meron pong question here in the chat box. So, how to deal with parents na tumatandang paurong? I am suffering from emotional trauma because of our father always enforce what we want and keep on talking. His mindset is that once you are retired, you just have to enjoy like kaya utos ng utos. Puro reklamo sa buhay ng iba at buhay namin wala namang ginagastos sa akin. Your comments po, Doktora?
Okay, it's easy really to be pulled into a negative vortex. But, okay, you know, goodness should always win. I have to share this with you. My mother, when she was towards the end of her life, she's a very sweet lady. Actually, she grew up very sweet. And while I was growing up, she was very, very sweet. But then towards the end of her life, I think she had Alzheimer's, although we never really got to the point of a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. She wasn't herself anymore. So the things that I loved about her were not there towards the end of her life because, you know, she wasn't the sweet sweet lady that I knew. And so I really did not even start to recognize her anymore. But then, and I was living like you. I was mired in negativity, pessimism, etc. But then lately, okay, I found a book because I think books are angels. They tell us what we need to know at a given point in time. And here is what they say: when someone changes, when before they were sweet and now they are mean, or when before they were responsible and now today they're irresponsible, I think age does that. Okay, part of their souls are actually leaving their bodies already, getting ready to transition to the next level. Meaning to say, the part of their souls are already transitioning away. Now, I have no basis for thinking this, but in a way, if we think about it that way, that the supposedly lovable person that we knew in the past is now no longer there. And what is left is a shell, and even a poor shell of who that person truly was in the end. Then it kind of gives you some comfort that part of them now that thou are transitioning to heaven. So for me, that's comforting. Na parang, okay, I will still love you even if you're mean, even if you're, because everything that I loved about you isn't here anymore. The best part of what I loved about you has left. And so I will still love what is left of you. Because one day, your dad will go as well. And that is probably when you will miss him. Okay. So again, I can only speak from my experience. I don't understand the depth of what you are going through, but I hope in a way it has helped. Thank you.
Thank you again.
For the next question, Dr. Hipona.
Hello, Dr. Borromeo. Good morning. There's another question for you here. I have an auntie, a retired teacher, 76 years old, single home alone. As of now, she is very, uh, I lost the question. Okay, let's proceed with the next one,
Yeah.
Doctora. How do you overcome struggles and disappointments, specifically right now, even you are in the retirement age? How do view regret as an opportunity or challenges?
So the question has to do with me personally or someone else. Uh, During retirement stage, how do we
I
how do
think the
we deal
question,
with
Doctor, yeah, I think the question, Doctor, is pertaining from your point of view and as well as advice to others. How do they view regrets as an opportunity or challenges?
okay. I think regrets are a normal human coping mechanism. However, you can't stay mired in regret for a long time because regret is just another opportunity left as time ticks. Like I told you, every second that is given to us, if we keep on the regret scale, is an opportunity that is not used for the productive scale. I think we should all be moving forward, not looking back, because with regrets you look back. But you can't do anything about what has happened in the past. What we need to do is move forward. And even if it looks very bleak, I think just one foot moving forward, one step at a time, will lead you to a place that, that might be unexpected. So yes, regrets have a purpose, but don't stay in it too long. You have to, at some point, move forward.
Thank you so much, Dr. Borromeo. That's a wonderful advice to everyone, even if those who are not yet seniors. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. for sharing. Thank you, Dr. Hipona and Dr. Baklig for moderating the question and answer portion. May I now call on Dr. Dino again for the presentation of the certificate to Dr. Borromeo.
Okay, so thank you very much, Case. And to our proactive viewers, please join me in awarding our certificate to our second and equally engaging speaker. So the speaker, of course, the certificate reads Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium, in cooperation with the Far Eastern University and Our Lady of Fatima University, presents this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Annabel R. Borromeo for exhibiting exemplary knowledge and competence as speaker in the webinar The Roads to Seniors, The Science of Aging, Session 3. The electronic certificate was virtually signed by yours truly, Dr. Michael Joseph Dino, Director, RDIC, OLFU, Dr. Generoso B. Pamitan, the Director for University Research Center of Far Eastern University, Dr. Hilton Y. Lam, the Director for MMHRDC, and Dr. Carmencita Padilla, the Lead Convener for MMHRDC. Let us all offer our virtual clap. Thank you very much, and virtual hugs to our dear Dr. Borromeo. And may all our super seniors legacy goes beyond years from one generation to another.
Thank you, Dr. Gino. And to everybody, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. I hope our audience are willing to take extra time pa. I know we're going over time because we have very engaging speakers this morning. The last but not the least, who is equally engaging, and I know you will learn a lot from his talk too. He's a licensed physical therapist, an advocate of exercise and physical activity. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree of Physical Therapy from University of Santo Tomas with Master's degree in the same institution for physical therapy. He also had Master's in Physiology from the University of the Philippines, Manila, and the Master's of Law degree in Intellectual Property from the University of Turin in Italy. Um, Currently, he is taking his PhD in molecular biology at UST. He also has finished an array of online courses, mostly in copywriting and intellectual property. He has been an executive assistant for intellectual property and research under the Office of the Vice Rector of Research and Innovation of UST since 2010. He is also a faculty member of the Physical Therapy Department in the College of Rehabilitation Sciences. Aside from that, he is also a member of the Association of Patent Professionals, the Licensing Executive Society of the Philippines, the Committee on Standard and Accreditation of the Philippine Health Research Ethics Board, or PREB, and the Philippine Physical Therapy Association. He's also an active member of the Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium. He is an advocate of exercise and physical activities. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our third and last, but not the least, speaker for this morning, Associate Professor Michael George Peralta.
Morning, everybody. To all participants. Our topic will be my journey to healthy aging. Let's get physical. Because I'm a physical therapist and my advocacy is physical activity and exercise. So this is now our tagline. So the objectives of this session would be to know about the effects of aging in major bodily systems, just a rundown through them, and how to prescribe exercise, and to personally walk through my journey to healthy aging, to supplement these experiences with evidences, and to encourage the public to chart their own path towards healthy aging. So at present, there are a number of adult men and women greater than 40 years old who exercise regularly. That increased. Okay. You can see already master or senior athletes jogging, walking, doing their rounds, their usual routine, exercises in the morning or afternoon. You can see also some seniors who are still competing. Okay, you can see them also in gyms, outdoor facilities, yeah, recreational and fitness centers. Yeah, you can see also Olympians who are still active. Now, there are several opportunities, okay, with the advent of better technologies on exercise, better equipment, and better organization of activities such as marathon running, weightlifting, okay, gyms, outdoor activities, okay, and it is more focused on cardiorespiratory fitness and prolonging life. Okay, so you can see the picture. It's a good slogan there. Run while you still can. So the level of voluntary physical activity begins to decline after the age of maturity. Yeah, we begin to stop really moving, especially nowadays because of computers, because of online technology. So we are glued to our seats in at the offices or work from home or gaming. Okay, so physical activity is decreased. We try to eliminate all stresses, including muscular effort. Okay, we would like to dream of having a retirement where we are seated watching telenovelas, or maybe some would go on traveling. That's good if your goal is to travel after retire. That's good because that's still physical activity. But most of us would like to slow down a bit. Okay. Now, humans and animals tend to decrease physical activity as they grow older. Okay, well, that is physiologic. Okay. So, what are the challenges of decreased mobility? Well, of course, there will be falls, arthritic conditions. These are degenerative joint syndromes, osteoporosis, yes, brittle bones, okay, and decreased functional status. There will also be muscle weakness, sarcopenia. And the overall cause of this would be reduced in muscle strength and muscle mass. Okay. So, what's the solution for that? Of course, strengthening activity. Let's get physical. Okay, either strengthening activity or we go to general body endurance activities. Okay, so in the U.S., more than 80% of adults do not meet the guidelines for both aerobic and muscle strengthening activities, and more than 80% of adolescents do not do enough aerobic physical activity to meet even the guidelines for youth. In the Philippines, last week, Dr. Agdepa has presented their study uh, on the physical activity. So as we age, it really goes down. Now, the new gerontology focuses not only at increasing lifespan, but rather on improving health span. And thus they coined the term successful aging, which is the maintenance of enhanced physiologic function and physical fitness. The goal is to promote functional independence throughout life. So the World Health Organization has this healthy life expectancy, or the HALE. They introduced this one. Okay. This is the expected number of years a person might live in equivalent of full health. Okay. And they further added another scale, which is a disability adjusted life year expectancy, or your daily. This is the overall expected life expectancy minus the years of ill health. Okay, so you subtract the years of sickness from your full health. Okay, and that is your disability adjusted life year expectancy. And most years in poorer countries are lost due to illness and disabilities. So here's a table taken from the World Health Organization, accessed last week. Okay, as you would see here, our healthy life expectancy at birth. Okay, so you can see here the year 2016. This was updated in 2018. Right, In the Philippines, we are expected to live at around 61 years of age. Okay. And you can see here they subdivided it into different genders. Okay. You have your male and female. Okay. Is this good? Is this bad? Is this bad? Well, if you're going to look at the trend, okay, from the year 2000, our life expectancy was only 59 years old. But as the years go by, okay, our life expectancy increases. Okay. Now this is due to better access to healthcare, better health technologies, better medicine, more informational campaigns for better health. These are all factors that increased our life expectancy. Okay. Now there are several health-related physical fitness that we can apply. Okay. For at our age, at a younger age, and even to our senior age. Okay. So they're all pieces of a pie. We have cardiovascular fitness, we have abdominal strength and endurance, body composition, and flexibility. Now, what's the rationale on why we need our seniors to do exercise? Physiologic changes related to disuse may be decreased or attenuated by giving attention to physical activity. So we need to move in order to improve circulation, yeah, and to improve oxygenation distribution to the tissues, to put juice in the joints while we move, yeah. Exercise is an independent factor and or a potential treatment for major causes of morbidity and mortality. There are lots of evidences that prove that exercise can combat infection with the right dosage. Okay, we'll get into that. Traditional medical interventions do not address disuse syndromes with chronic illness. Well, but the term would imply disuse. You're not using it. So what's the solution there? You have to use it again. Okay. Many pathophysiologic aberrations or abnormalities can be addressed by exercise. So what are some of the changes of aging? Well, you have a fat-free mass decrease. Okay, that decreases progressively at ages 30 to 40. Decrease muscle and bone mass, and that causes the weakness. Sarcopenia, yep. Osteopenia, loss of bone mass due to aging, yes. And the rate of muscle protein synthesis is reduced. That's why it was recommended last week in nutrition, we should eat a lot of protein. Okay? But don't forget, of course, the carbohydrates. For the cardiovascular system, the effect of aging, okay, there's accumulation of adipose tissues in the upper and central body regions. Okay, that's why we get a bit obese. There is increased plasma lipid and lipoprotein levels. But if we improve our physical activity, okay, there will be less accumulation. With aerobic exercise, there will be an induced preferential loss of fat. Okay, you become leaner, right? And there is now an increase in good cholesterol, the HDLs, and lowering of your bad cholesterol, the LDLs. Okay. How about the neuromuscular system? Okay. The level of strength to meet daily demands of living remains unchanged throughout life. So as we age, the way that we perform activities of daily living, like lifting up simple bags or carrying chairs, it still remains. Washing dishes, washing the clothes, still remains because these are the normal physical demands of the body. It still remains. The strength still remains. However, the maximal strength above these ADLs decreases steadily. All right, it declines to the point that simple activities of daily living become challenging because we do not exert much effort anymore. Even simple activities become difficult. Right? Example, rising from a chair. If you compare age 50 to age 80, of course, rising from a chair for the younger population is faster. Okay? Opening the jar. Yeah, my grandmother gives me the jar and lets me open. That's because of decreased muscle mass. It's because of weakness also. And here comes now the declining theories. Yep, loss of muscle mass, loss of contractile properties, Okay, reduce activation of motor units. Okay, when we reach ages 60 to 70 years old, there is a 15% decline, okay, of muscle mass, and then there will be 30% decline per decade thereafter. See, that's kind of big decrease as we age. Okay, we all know now that maximal strength decreases steadily. Okay, there is substantial loss of muscle mass. We've mentioned that, and decreased cross-sectional area. So lumiliit na yung diameter of your muscle belly. Okay, which is obvious, di ba? We can see seniors who are frail. Okay, training, doing physical activity can lessen the impact of aging. Okay, now 3/4 of the older population do not currently exercise at the recommended level. Okay, I observe some seniors who are just walking in their subdivision or around the parks. Well, that's fine. Even for me, even though that they do not really get the recommended dose for physical activity, as long as they move, that is already exercise for health. Okay. So some studies on physiological adaptation, level of physical function improved in elderly women. Okay, on those who exercise 3 times per week. See, for those who exercise once per week, there is improved agility, dynamic balance, muscle strength, and coordination. See, if you just exercise once per week. Pero for me, you have to push yourself a bit further. Okay, for those who improve their physical activity frequency to 3 times per week, had this already, increased level of agility, yes, plus flexibility and better ADL performance. Okay. So maybe I have already inspired you to do exercise, to do more physical activity. So maybe you decided you want to move up later this afternoon. So what do? Well, it is recommended that you undergo participation screening. Okay. Go to your attending physician. Go to your family doctor to get the history and physical assessment. Okay. Most older adults should undergo a physical exam. Okay. To identify cardiac risk factors, exertional signs and symptoms, okay, whether they have difficulty in breathing while doing ordinary activities, yeah, that has to be checked. There should be assessment of ADLs and instrumental ADLs. Okay. Check for contraindications and precautions to exercise. Okay. Maybe that there are arthritic changes. So there will be certain modifications to exercise in order to prevent further degeneration of the joint. Okay. Setting safety and prioritization of exercise is important so that once you feel the natural delayed onset muscle soreness, this won't deter you from continuing your physical activity. Okay. Now the emphasis here is mobility and independence. So what do they do in participation screening? Okay, we do exercise stress testing. Okay, so your cardiologist can do that. Okay, this is recommended by the American College of Sports Medicine and the Center for Disease Control, because by doing exercise stress test, this will determine your baseline fitness level and how much energy expenditure you can tolerate, your body can tolerate. Okay, so this one will give you a safe level on when to start the exercise, on how difficult your exercise would be. So the recommended here, of course, you begin with moderate aerobic exercise or resistance training. Okay, provided they begin slowly and with proper progression. Okay, also in pre-exercise assessment for the elderly, okay, they check for absolute contraindications such as cardiac conditions, critical aortic stenosis, okay, problems in circulation, yeah, peripheral vascular ischemia at rest. If you have ischemia already at rest, what more when you are exercising? Okay, that will really be exponential. Okay, unstable aortic or cerebral aneurysm. Okay, so health professionals, doctors, physical therapists have an evaluation tool for that. Okay. Most common self-administered examination tool is the PAR-Q. PAR-Q means a physical activity readiness questionnaire. Okay. This is a questionnaire for people ages 15 to 69 years old. Okay. So what you do here is you have a set of 7 questions and you just tick yes or no. Okay. You do this honestly. Okay. Honestly. So what would be the results? Okay. Take a look at the question. So has your doctor ever said that you have a heart condition? Okay. Do you feel pain on your chest while doing physical activity? In the past month, had you had chest pain? Okay. Do you lose balance? Do you have joint problems? Are you taking maintenance medications? Okay. Or do you know any other reason why you should not do physical activity? Okay. So just tick yes or no. So how do we interpret that? Okay. Any yes to one question, any one question, if there is a tick yes there, that means that you have to get yourself checked. Just to be sure. It is better to err on the safe side. Okay? Better to err on the safe side. So, of course, if you know now what your contraindications are, what your precautions are, then you would be able to to decide on yourself whether your exercise that you're doing is difficult or not. Sometimes we overload ourselves. Sometimes we push ourselves. Okay? Because exercise releases what we call the happy hormones, the endorphins, and that makes us feel good. That makes us feel strong. Okay? Improves our well-being. Yes, but there's a danger to that. And that danger, it seems to be that we're like Superman. Okay? We can do anything. We can lift up heavy objects. Okay? There must be a precaution there. Okay? So, where does exercise prescription come in? Okay, the goal is to change exercise behavior. Elderly persons should be encouraged to supplement cardiorespiratory endurance with strength developing exercise. Okay, so if you're doing already aerobic exercise, then you can add strength training. Okay, resistance training or strength training helps preserve and enhance muscular strength. Okay, muscular fitness may allow performance of ADLs with less effort and extend functional independence. Yeah, because if you have good muscle strength, you can do your ADLs very well. Okay, and then monitor and document the improvements. So how do we deliver it? Okay, for us physical therapists, okay, or how do you do it yourself? Well, you start slow. Okay, start with one component. Your health practitioner will be the one to tell you that during the participation screening. Okay, we can concentrate first on balance, okay, or strength, endurance, flexibility. Choose one first, and then we add factors. We add one component over the other until you get the whole fitness package. Okay, we gradually introduce new routines, and we have what we call periodization. The program is individualized. Okay, we address first the deficits in muscle strength or balance prior to aerobic training. Okay, why is that so? Of course, you need balance in order for you to have coordinated movements. Okay, in order to do extremity movements. Okay, have a stable balance first. Okay, so here we go. How do we prescribe exercise? If you want to do exercise now, okay, or later, okay, aerobic activity. What are the objectives? The objectives are to increase the maximum aerobic work, okay, and to decrease the physiologic reactions and perceived difficulty of submaximal workloads. Okay, so even though the exercise is not that tiring, okay, we will increase your endurance so that that activity now will become easier for you. So what are the parameters? We follow the FITE principle, FITTE, wherein F is the frequency of exercise. Okay, how frequent should you do your exercise per week? Intensity means how hard or the level of difficulty of exercise. The type of exercise, okay, or the mode. The time or the duration of exercise. How long should it be? And of course, we added the E. It means you should enjoy the exercise program so that you'll be able to comply with it. Okay, so we start first with warm-ups. Okay, do some light stretching, light calisthenics, walking at your own pace. Okay, this is done for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so let's follow the FITE principle. F, frequency. The minimum should be at least 3 times a week to a maximum of 5 times per week. Okay, you should allow at least 1 day of rest so that the muscle can recover the lost energies, okay, to recover the oxygen that it has been used, that it has used, okay. If you exercise 2 times per week, there's very little carryover. If you exercise once per week, well, there's really no health benefits. Although in the previous study, you will increase the agility. But for me, 1 time per week, not much. Okay. Intensity. Intensity is the difficulty of exercise. The recommended is moderate intensity. Okay. Because moderate intensity is predisposes you to less injuries. Okay. And this is the preference of older adults, okay, of our seniors. How do we determine that? We determine that using your heart rate. Okay. So the target heart rate here, okay, you have this formula, heart rate rest plus 60 to 70% of your heart rate reserve. And your heart rate reserve is computed as 220 minus age minus your heart rate at rest. Okay. So it means that when you exercise, you should achieve this target heart rate. Okay. Now, the observation here is that this formula gives you a high estimate of a target heart rate. So you can go down as low as 50%. Okay. So you can change this factor to 50% of your heart rate reserve, and that's just fine. Okay. So how do you progress? Okay. So walking, aside from the speed, you can add small wrist weights. Okay, you can swing the arms exaggeratedly. Okay, use walkathon style. You can walk on inclines, hills, or stairs. Carry backpacks, of course, but with proper posture, or a waist belt, or push a wheelchair, stroller, or grocery cart. Okay. For cycling, if you're into cycling, you increase the pedaling speed, increase the resistance to pedals if you have a stationary bike. Okay, you add hills, you add inclines. Okay, you add a backpack. Okay, if you're in water activities, okay, use arms and legs in strokes. Okay, not only dipping in water, you can use resistive equipment. Okay, you can increase the pace of swimming and increase the frequency, the volume, the sets. Okay, if you're into racket sports, start from doubles, then go to singles. Okay, if you're into golf, you'll be the one now to carry the golf club. Okay, never mind the caddy. Eliminate the golf cart. If you're into dancing, okay, increase the movement pace, increase the beat, add more arm and leg movements. So again, the key here is start slow, okay, progress gradually, but taking note of your target heart rate. Okay, so what type of exercise? Okay, so this is based on the participant's level of fitness. That's why exercise stress testing is necessary to know your baseline. Okay, you choose activities that are enjoyable and has minimum potential for injuries. Okay, you use large muscle groups and should be rhythmical in nature, like lower extremities. That's why walking, running, jogging, cycling, swimming are the recommended types of exercise to increase okay, aerobic fitness. Okay. Now, walking is usually preferred because no skill is required for that. Okay. Minimal equipment and clothing. Just wear a nice shirt, good shorts, socks, and rubber shoes. Okay. And this one can offer companionship, but we're still under MGCQ or GCQ, so still observe your health protocols. Wear mask and maintain social distancing. Okay. And walking can be easily incorporated to daily living. Okay. You can go cycling or swimming if you know how. Okay. Now, swimming is good for those with poor balance and with joint problems because it it eliminates gravity. It is a decreased weight environment. Okay. However, in the water, there's extra hazard of drowning and arrhythmias. So it must be supervised. So that may kasama po kayo, you need a companion if you are going to swim. If you're into racket sports, of course, racket sports need skill. Okay. So if you're previously a badminton player, then you can go back. If you're a previous tennis player, table tennis player, you can go back to racket sports. For cross training, you can go to gym facilities if it's open. But again, please observe your health protocols. In the gym, okay, the advantage there is that it is in a supervised environment. Okay, so how long should your exercise be? Okay, the emphasis is on endurance. Okay, low load but more repetitions. Okay, so the minimum is 20 minutes a day to a maximum of 45 minutes a day. Okay, progression here, you increase the duration rather than the intensity. So for this week, you could start 20 minutes, then next week 25 minutes, then the other next week by 30 minutes, you can increase by 5 minutes increment. Okay. Now there are two paradigms now that is recommended by the American College of Sports Medicine: exercise for fitness and exercise for health. Okay. Fitness, you're really going to follow the Fite principle by heart. For exercise for health, it means that just as long as you do physical activity for a minimum of 30 minutes, you're good. So after the physical activity, okay, it's time now to cool down. Okay, stretch major muscles, do light calisthenics, walking, and it's usually done 5 to 10 minutes. Now, of course, there are risks in doing aerobic exercise for the elderly, for our seniors. There are a lot of risks. But of course, risks can be mitigated. That's why one participation screening is essential in order to minimize that risk. Okay, so here you have a list of several risks that can be involved with aerobic exercise. Okay, now I would want to share my journey to healthy aging. Okay. When I was 20 years old, I was already diagnosed to have hypertension. So during that age, I was already prescribed antihypertensive medicines. Okay. So until now, I'm still taking those maintenance medications. Okay. So here you would see the timelines. In 2003, this is how I look like. Okay. This is about 90 kilograms. Yeah, 185 pounds, something like that. Okay. And then in 2011, this one is about, I think, 98 or 204 pounds. Wow. I think I had a body image distortion. I thought I was thin during that time. Okay. So I guess this was my maximum weight. Okay. So my doctor said, Mike, you are a walking time bomb. You are already hypertensive. Okay. Although I'm not diabetic yet, thank God. Okay. But of course, we will not wait for that to happen. So I tried to trim down a bit. Okay. I tried to do exercise already, practicing what I preach, but it was not enough. Okay. It was not enough. And last year, 2019, I trimmed down a lot. Okay. I did my diet. Okay. Diet with exercise. And this is now my my weight. Okay. Yeah, this was taken last August 2020. So maybe you're asking, how did you do that? For me, it would seem impossible to look at my 2011 weight and figure. Okay, it seems to be I'm a hopeless case, but actually it's not. Okay, it's not. Okay, it's better to start early, right? It's never too late. So what did I do? So to share, of course, evidences show that you have to monitor your weight. Okay, so by monitoring your weight, you'll be able to also monitor what you eat. So every day, every morning, I do that. Once I wake up in the morning, okay, I check my weight. If I ate too much the day before, you would be surprised, okay, that when my weight tells me I gained 1 kilogram, your appetite center will shut off to the point that you'll become conscious now on what you eat for today. So use also your health applications in your smartphones. Okay, input it. Okay, it can give you good graphical representation. Okay, you should get excited about it. Get excited about losing weight. If you see your weight going down per day, wow, that really is a good motivation. And that motivates me. Okay, so we all know our normal BMI. Okay, eating a balanced diet is also supported by evidences. Okay, the FNRI, Food Nutrition Research Institute, okay, has this advertisement: "Pinggang Pinoy" or the plate of a Filipino should be a balanced diet. You have your go, grow, and glow foods there. Okay, and following also the food pyramid. Okay, where you can see the base of the pyramid is more of fluids. Yes, we have to hydrate ourselves, to drink 10 to 12 glasses a day, not only 8 to 10. Okay? Because we're living in a tropical country. It's hot and humid, so we lose water. And that's why we have to replenish it with water. Okay? And then the usual food pyramid, yeah, carbohydrates, yes. Okay, another is, of course, leisure activity. Try to enjoy life. I know we have lots of stress. I have lots of stresses in life. Okay, but don't try to ponder upon it. Try to smile. One thing, one trait of Filipinos is that we're always smiling, even though we have problems. That's a good trait. Okay, go and visit places. Yeah, see places. Okay, see the beauty of the Philippines. See the beauty of the world. Okay, I don't think, well, now travel has eased a little bit, but again, observe your health protocols. Okay. Another thing that helped me also would be to be active in church. Okay. Nothing is better than to have a good physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Okay. And of course, related to our lecture today, let's get physical. Physical activity help pave the way, okay, to my healthy lifestyle. Okay, so I started running marathons after my participation screen. Yep, I did my stress test and it was still clear. Okay, I can still do difficult activities, but again, slow progression. Okay, so I ran marathons. Okay, until of course my weight went down, and it's now my maintenance physical activity. I went biking also. Okay, and during this pandemic, okay, and during the rainy season when you cannot go outdoors, okay, take advantage of YouTube. Okay, there are a lot of fitness programs there. So the common that I access is the Walk for Life by Leslie Sanson. Okay, this one is accredited by the American Heart Association. Okay, and when I noticed that this one became just like a routine, I leveled up. So I use now Taibo. You can really feel the sweat trickling down, okay, your forehead. Okay, then of course, one also that motivates me is to invest on wearables. Okay, I have a wearable that acts as a pedometer and sleep monitor as well. Okay, that can be synced with your phone. Ang dami yan. There are plenty of wearables now. And by looking at figures, okay, by measuring what you have done, the steps you have done for the day, gets you motivated. Okay. So if you have a food pyramid, we have also our daily activity pyramid. Okay, we're in the base of the pyramid. It means that you should do this every day as often as possible. Okay, stair climbing, walking. This is exercise for health. Okay. So some evidences of physical activity. In the University of Minnesota study, take a look at their sample size. Wow, whopping 40,000. Those who habitually engaged in moderate physical activity, okay, had a 41% lower death rate than those who did easier exercise. See? But those, okay, even those who did activities once a week, if you just do once a week activity, we said that there's little carryover. In their study, they had a 29% lower mortality than those who do not exercise at all. Okay? So the bottom line, let's do some physical activity. The Cooper Institute found out that the men who improved from poor to moderate fitness reduced their overall death rate by 44%. Wow, almost 50%. And those who worked up from moderate to good shape had additional reduced their mortality by 22%. Ooh. So if you do that, that's a 66% decrease in mortality. Okay. Now this one is a press release by the Department of Health, okay, from the Department of Health. It says here, galaw galaw baka pumanaw. So it means we have to move in order to decrease our mortality. Okay. So as a final word, a family that exercises together grows old together healthily. We enjoy life. We enjoy the fruits of our labor. And we enjoy family time. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope I inspired you with this simple session.
Thank you so much, Associate Professor Michael George Peralta, for that enlightening talk on your journey to aging healthy. For question and answers, for question and answer portion, Dr. Mike Baklig and Dr. Jocelyn Hipona. The floor is yours.
Okay, hi, good afternoon, Dr. Peralta. There's one question here from Miss Marilyn Dorol. Do you need to perspire or sweat in order to see if your exercise is effective or okay?
It's a very good question. No, it doesn't need to be. You don't need to really sweat profusely. So I've also encountered those who are wearing jackets in order for them to really profuse sweatly, or I've entered gyms before who closed the window in order for their participants to really profuse sweatly. Well, I really disagree. Okay, even though you're not sweating, even though you have only few sweats there, the mere fact that you're doing physical activity, achieving your target heart rate, that's already good enough.
Thank you so much for that wonderful answer, Professor Peralta. Yes, and
There are no.
yes,
Go
another
ahead.
question po. My 90-year-old aunt underwent hip spica replacement, left on her left 5 years back, had spent PT, home exercises, and other regimen as prescribed. Now she is extremely curved from her waist. She is using a walker for ambulation around the house, and I put her on wheelchair for a longer walk. She experienced pain using the affected extremity, and surgeon did not seem to care anymore. The question, Professor, is there any appropriate exercise for her to relieve the pain too?
Ah, to relieve the pain, well, I advise to have another what do you call this? To have your aunt, yeah, checked again. But this time, a different. No, the surgeon is still there, yes, but those who who can prescribe the exercises. So this can be a physiatrist. Excuse me. Yeah, the attending physiatrist during the or your physical therapist who treated your aunt. Okay, because we have certain modalities to do that. exercise for decrease the pain. Well, we do only range of motion exercises at the pain-free range. Okay, but that would only alleviate the pain just a bit.
Okay, thank you again, Doctor, for that wonderful answer. And we have here again, maybe last question. Can we exercise with the aircon on?
Oh, yes, definitely. Pero don't don't be in front of the aircon, or don't stay in front of the aircon, because sweat, as you sweat and it evaporates and it cools down the back part. Although we have a saying na pwede ka mapulmonya, although there's little evidence of that. But okay, you can catch a cold. Okay? So you can exercise while the aircon is on. That's fine. Wag lang yung tutok, ha. Wag, not really directed on you. And after you exercise, when you sweat, you change your soiled clothes immediately.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Rahipuana, for the questions for Dr. Peralta. May I call on Dr. Dino for the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Peralta?
Okay, so thank you very much, Case. At this point, we would like to show our gratitude to our third and final speaker, and the certificate reads: Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium, in cooperation with Far Eastern University and Our Lady of Fatima University, presents this certificate of appreciation to Associate Professor Michael George N. Peralta for exhibiting exemplary knowledge and competence as speaker in the webinar The Road to Seniors, the Science of Aging, Session 3, given this third day of October 2020. So the electronic certificate was virtually signed by yours truly, Dr. Michael Joseph Dino, the Director for RDIC of the Our Lady of Fatima University, Dr. Generoso B. Pamitan, Director, University Research Center, Far Eastern University, Dr. Hilton Y. Lam, the Director for MMHRDC, and Dr. Carmencita Padilla, the lead convener of MMHRDC. Our virtual clap, and thank you, Associate Professor Mike Peralta, for flexing and empowering the minds of our super seniors towards healthier lifestyle.
Thank you, Dr. Dino.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you so
MMHRDC.
much. I know it's past lunchtime already, and I know you're excited to eat healthy, as what Dr. Peralta have provided us some insights on how to eat healthy, more healthy as we age. As we end this webinar series on the road to super seniors, the science of aging, we would like to invite Dr. Hilton Lam. He is um, the Director of Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium, the Director of the Institute and Health Policy Development of the National Institute of Health of the UP Manila, for his closing remarks.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Old age, though despised, is coveted by all. As this proverb suggests, people want to live long, but they refuse to get old. Why do people refuse to get old? Deterioration of bodily functions, susceptibility to illnesses, loneliness from the inevitable loss of peers and loved ones, and financial instability. Indeed, getting old brings along with it lots of concerns and uncertainties. This is what the webinar series want to address. Through the information provided by the expert that the organizers have invited, we hope that we were able to help you and your loved ones prepare for a healthy journey towards becoming fulfilled and productive super seniors of the future. At this point, I would like to congratulate the working and organizing committees, as well as Our Lady of Fatima University, led by President Caroline Marian Enriquez, and Far Eastern University, led by President Michael Alba, for the successful implementation of the webinar series. In the 3 webinars, we've had attendance of between 300 and 400 per session and views of 1,500 to 1,600 each time, with participant evaluation averaging in the 98 percentile satisfaction. Truly, truly a success in quantity and quality. I would also like to thank the Commission on Higher Education International Affairs Office, headed by Attorney Lily Fraida Milla, and DOST PCHRD, headed by Dr. Jaime Montoya, for believing and supporting this activity. To our counterpart Health Research and Development Consortia in the other regions, thank you for helping MMHRDC broaden the reach of the webinar series. To all the attendees who have participated in the sessions, thank you for taking the time and effort to be with us. We hope that your time with us was fruitful and meaningful. It has been a pleasure being with you today. Thank you and keep safe, everyone. May God protect and bless us all amidst this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hilton Lam, who is also celebrating his birthday today. And as we close this webinar, let me invite you to our busy November. The Metro Manila Health Research and Development Consortium never stops working. So we have a November 2020 webinar series. I know from the chat earlier that you're requesting for more webinars. So here they are. They are answered already. So for November, we're going to discuss adolescent pregnancy on November 14, and very timely, the mental health on November 28, 2020. Updates on how to register for these webinars will be posted on our MMHRDC website as well as our Facebook page. So make sure to like and follow these announcements that we will post in the coming days. Okay? So as evaluation for this episode, session 3 of the webinar series, here is the link of the post-test and evaluation. Additional reminder, as I have stated this earlier, you should have a passing rate of at least 60% in the post-test to be able to get a certificate. The post-test will be available for 2 days, after which you can no longer access this link, and you will get your certificates via your emails. So it will be sent to your corresponding email. So make sure that you have encoded the correct email addresses. So with this, I would like to thank each and everyone, the participants, the organizers, the lead agencies and institutions for the webinar series of the Road to Super Seniors, the Science of Aging. It is earlier than you think, but it's never too late. We have learned a lot from the past 3 weekends that we have been together. And we'd like to extend our thanks to the Far Eastern University and the Our Lady of Fatima University, who have worked so hard to make this webinar possible. So thank you and have a good day. Again, this is Case Romero from St. Luke's Medical Center.